interested in trying to conquer America?
No. All these years, the UK fighters had to go to America. Everyone had to spend a heap of money to go to Vegas. We can do it in London, around Wembley, Cardiff. It's local.
Here at Madison Square Garden, referee Michael Griffin steps in and calls a halt to the contest. The official time, 1 minute, 27 seconds. Round number 7. The winner by TKO victory, and now the new unified IBO, IBF, WBA, WBO heavyweight champion of the world, Andy Destroyer Ruiz Jr.
Well, hello everybody. Hello everybody, and welcome to the 325th edition of the Boxing Asylum Nuthouse podcast. I don't even know why I'm laughing. I should be crying. I'm your host, Steve Wellings, and joining me on the call this evening, we have Dave the Hater Lowback, Andy Patterson, and Adam Smido Smith so far. On a side note, before we get going here, right, you just scored the biggest win of your career. You've won the prestigious IBO title, one of the big 5 now, gets announced there by Michael Buffer. And that daft bastard, Michael, you had one job, Buffer, jumps in with Andy Ruiz's name on a piece of paper. It's there, flashing up on the screens. It's been on the billboards in New York all week. And this guy calls him Andy Cruz Jr., his biggest crowning moment. I need to put this guy out to pasture, Dave. What are you going to do with him?
Hey, I don't take responsibility for him anymore. He seems to be firmly in Eddie's pocket, judging by his tweets. But yeah, that was bad. About as bad, maybe worse than Darren Baker. Some people who have heard it have said that he said Ruiz like really quick. It sounded a lot like Cruz to me, but you know, wow, what a weekend!
Yes,
I know you gentlemen fell asleep, but I managed to stay up.
I went to bed like.
I said, well, I mean, let's just see what happens. I know Andy's sort of still a question mark. I didn't think he would let his hands go because he didn't against Parker, but he sure did. And not only did he let his hands go, he was willing to punch with Joshua, and that was a huge factor.
It was, Dave. Save your analysis, or we'll be coming to you very shortly. First of all, obviously, you're hearing us about 24 hours late, just to clear that up, unless you're listening to the iTunes during the week, and then you will have no idea whatsoever what's going on. We were supposed to go live on a Sunday evening, as we always do, around the 8 o'clock mark. YouTube done a shit last night, really. It was worldwide. It wasn't anything to do with us. It was their technical difficulties. It went down. We tried. We waited till about 9:30, 10 o'clock. It wasn't coming on. Didn't come on till about 2 o'clock in the morning, so we just gave up. And that's why we're here on this Monday evening with you all. Kevin Chase sent a message into Facebook yesterday, and it said, have any of you stopped pissing yourselves laughing yet? Nope, me neither. Well, we had a bit of a laugh in the intro there, but let me tell you here, friends, I'm actually struggling a little bit to process my emotions.
Oh, here we go. Spit it out.
I need a bit of help, you know. This is not in a way that you would think. Hear me out, guys, right? We had Anthony Joshua in the ring on Saturday night, and he looked stiff. He looked listless. He looked like he was lacking energy. He almost looked intimidated by the big occasion. He was like a scared little boy at times. And I have to admit, guys, I actually felt a little bit sorry for him. I'm not trolling here. I need some pod therapy to snap me out of this malaise. But I felt like I was witnessing a man who was just drained of all stamina, all confidence on the biggest stage. He looked like, to me, he was having an Oliver McCall moment. I'm old enough to remember that. It was a bizarre fight and a bizarre spectacle. Seeing him getting knocked around the ring, his head in the corner. He was feeling every inch of the pressure, Andy. Oh. I thought whenever this moment came, that I would feel pleased, but I didn't, Andy. I felt sad. Please help me.
I'm not going to help you, mate. I hope you suffer. I hope you suffer because I loved it. And by the way, it's not because, I mean, look, we want to spend a bit of time on Joshua, but we really need to spend a fair bit of time on Andy Ruiz as well because, you know, that guy, I mean, I need to hold my hands up. I need to take the biggest L as possible here because I said something last week. I was listening back to last week's pod. I got to hold my hands up. I got it absolutely horribly wrong. I think Dave asked the question, you know, what chance do you give Andy Ruiz? I says, I gave him one chance and it's fucking no chance. And I've had to drink and eat shit because I mean, as Dave says, he did everything. I think Ruiz went in there with the mindset is, look, I'm not going to get a chance like this again. It's a big opportunity. I'm going to stand in there and I'm just going to give it everything I've got. If I get taken out, I get taken out. But my Christ, I mean, where do we start? I mean, obviously you got to talk about the fight first. I mean, we can talk about Joshua and that, but if rumours are true that Joshua's coming into this fight after getting, banged up in training and apparently getting iced in training. Now, if you've been iced in training, generally speaking, it's just like a fight. You didn't really go into a fight, or you didn't spar for like maybe 6 to 8 weeks, depending on how bad the knockout was. I mean, I'll give you an example. I remember Chris Eubank Jr. was trying to get hold of J. Leon Love one night in Mayweather gym for a sparring session. And Love saying, look, I can't spar you, mate. I'm medically unlicensed to box you or even spar at the minute because I got knocked out in my last fight. So if he's been knocked out and his team's known about that and he's winning that fight, taking the chance, and then hell mend him. He's took the chance, and it probably maybe shows. And the fact is that he couldn't hold a shot, or maybe the fact is this, that he hooked with a hooker. He tried to hook with a hooker. He got lucky. He didn't get lucky. He landed a great left hook to knock Ruiz down, who, by the way, I thought was very composed at that knockdown. By the way, he was absolutely focused. He was dialed in. He didn't look hurt to me. He gets up. And then he eats a solid straight right hand for Joshua, and he's like, all right, okay, boy, let's go to this. And he's just right to work with him. Joshua follows up with like 4 or 5 punches, misses them all, and then he gets caught with a left hook, and then that was it. Everything just seemed to kind of drain right out of him. I think it's probably a combination of everything. I kind of pinpoint it right at the minute. Obviously, more information is going to come out about this. But
Ruiz was throwing with him as well, Andy. Something I always mentioned, that he was throwing with him.
That was the thing. And did you notice it as well as he was leaping into space? See, when he saw the opportunity, he was leaping in to get his shots home, because obviously he had the disadvantage of having the T-Rex arms, so to speak, the short arms. He was against a big rangier guy. He had to kind of jump in, but he stood in the middle of him and just punched with him. Rolled under some shots and stuff, and just basically punched through Joshua's stiff defence, which is, fucking told you for long enough, Joshua is stiff, upright, doesn't give you any angles, doesn't give you any movement. So all Ruiz had to do is weather the storm, slip and slide as best as he could, and just punch right up the middle. And that's what he did. He couldn't fucking miss him. And Joshua, I mean, people say, oh, he's like Bruno. I'm sorry, but Bruno doesn't quit like that. He was looking, my personal opinion, for a way out of that fight. He didn't want to be there after 3 or 4 rounds. He's asking Robert McCracken, what's going on? What actually happened to me and stuff like that. There's alarm bells ringing straight away. And people who are actually blaming Robert McCracken, or didn't give you the right instructions. To me, McCracken gave the perfect instructions. Stiff jab, straight right hand, get out of shot. Because the end of the day was this. So all you had to do was jab him, right hand, jab right, be Vladimir Klitschko. 12-round bonus session. I know you had to come out. I know you felt under pressure to kind of step up and do what fucking Wilder did the week before. Okay, the pressure's on you. You look good. It's your American debut, but I don't know, man. I've seen him. As I say, I've seen Joshua hurt in the amateurs. I've seen him roar back like a fucking lion, dig in and try and pull out the fire, basically. But he had no answer. Absolute no answer, no fire. Nothing seemed to be working for him. But there's no way you can blame Robert McCracken if we can get that one straight away. I don't care what he made and how much money, but I thought his instructions were spot on. Straight punches, especially when you're hurt. You didn't engage with a guy when you're like that, but he had no gas. He just, after one round, they looked like he was breathing heavy then. I've maybe spoke for a wee bit too much and maybe a bit emotional at the minute, but I'll let somebody else fire in here. But
no, you're absolutely right, Andy. Robert McCracken made $3 million, but he is a good trainer, and sometimes you can impart the information, but it's whether they can take it on board or not. Regarding the referee, I think you're 100% right on the stoppage. I said out loud at the time, he's quitting. He was trying to quit without making it look like he was quitting at the time. The gum shield, I think he spat it out, didn't he?
Yep, and it's just, you seen him at the time when he got, was it the 4th knockdown? He turns his back and he walks away, and then the referees, when the referee says to you, right, come on, you have to basically step forward and ready to go. Josh was standing there he's not understanding what you're actually telling him, but he'd actually acknowledged the ref when he says to him, do you want to continue? And he shook his head as if to say, aye. I don't know if you need to get a strong verbal command or whatever and that back to the referee. I really don't know. But, again, it's no hating on AJ, but it's this, this day's been coming because we have been force-fed this shit for how long now? 5 years. He won a fake gold medal right? He should have lost at least twice in the Olympics back in 2012. He was the next people's champion. We've been force-fed this shit that he's got the strongest right hand for shavers. He dances like Ali. He jabs like Holmes, and he's got the chin of fucking. Who was the chin that he fucking mentioned again? I don't know who the chin was again that he mentioned, but fuck, I mean, for years we've been fed this stuff, right? And it's not against Joshua; it's against Hearn, Matchroom, and the cult. You know, Saturday night was fantastic, you know, because we've had so many big fights fall through. We've had so much happen in the last 6 to 8 months where the fights are all happening. The heavyweight division's been shit, but then we get something beautiful like that turning. You know, it's just something amazing to get us all talking about boxing, because that just united us all, man. You say to yourself, big upset, fucking fantastic. Nobody gave him a chance, man. I mean, okay, a handful of people. They gave him a chance. People like in the game constantly. Fury, Parker's trainer gave him a chance of winning that fight. But my Christ, maybe his own team and himself maybe believed in him and stuff like that. But nobody believed in him. And he goes out and does that, man. And it wasn't just that he won. It's the manner of what he won. Man, he fucking ransacked AJ. Ransacked him mentally and physically. He will never be the same fighter again, in my personal opinion. And I wouldn't be surprised, I'm telling you, Steve, if he retires off the back end of this.
Well, you know what? I actually thought that as well, Smido, because Richard Swig said to us, this is the biggest shock in my life as a boxing fan. The test for AJ is if he can come back and avenge this defeat like Lennox Lewis did. But I think, Smido, any aura of invincibility or intimidation he may have possessed will be flying out the window now, because where was the Anthony Joshua that gritted his teeth and came back against Klitschko, the same guy who dug in against Dillian White when he was back at home in the UK? I mean, he hardly went out on his shield on Saturday night, did he? He's like somebody who's just made too much cash and just has too much to lose now.
I don't know about the cash thing, because I thought, I know that we see on Instagram and Snapchat that him living the life with his mates, but
30 million.
He still lives at home with his mum, for God's sake. And I don't think, I know that might be part of the storyline, but I think it is widely quite true. I don't know. I was very unsatisfied with the finish. On all the blame for that sits on Joshua, not the referee. Yeah, I mean, like you say, I agree with you, Steve. You said he was looking for a way out without looking like he was quitting. But I've watched it back today, and you've got to conclude it was pretty much a quit, haven't you? There was a major difference between the two knockdowns in the seventh round. The first one, he held his hands up and was ready again to engage, like we see every single weekend when the ref says, "Are you ready to continue?" You raise your hands, he wipes your gloves, you carry on. He did not do that on the second time. He was down in the seventh. Turning round, hands on the ropes, trying to casual it out, kind of thing, trying to style it out, and that obviously went badly. I wanted him to win. That's not because I'm a massive AJ fan, but I kind of like the narrative in regards to the big three in the division, and was hoping, probably false hope, but I was hoping that them fights would happen down the line. But yeah, I've not. Twitter has been absolutely glorious since yesterday morning. The likes of Andy and Tommy have had a great time with it, and deservedly so. Which I've not got a problem with that. But it would be disingenuous of me to start, celebrating the defeat when I've not really built up to that before. I don't mind, and as Andy said, I don't mind AJ as the fighter or the person, but it's all, and we've said this many times before, it's all the bullshit that surrounds the AJ situation, the Matchroom, the Sky, the whatever it may be.
Adam Smith on Sky, maybe putting him in the same breath as Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali, for Christ's sake. Yeah,
I mean, and we've said this before. We're not being clever after the event. Eddie Earn's been piping this narrative that AJ's the best heavyweight on the planet. I absolutely disagreed with that beforehand. Obviously, we all do now, but before there was just no evidence of that whatsoever. And that's kind of what made it good that all three of the main guys had genuine argument. We've all got our preferences, obviously, but they all three had genuine arguments of claim to the number one spot. They just needed to prove it. But we've got to remember that AJ generally is the catalyst of the ridiculous position that we find ourselves in. And really, you could go back to it on a personal level. AJ is probably one of the main reasons that I'm no longer really class myself as a boxing fan, because because everything's turned into pay-per-view. I think as a result of AJ being the star, we've got people like Dillian White now on pay-per-view against fellas that, you know, a lot of people have never heard of next month. I think that's kind of it's had the knock-on effect. I mean, we was once told that the AJ money from pay-per-view was going to be reinvested into Saturday night shows. That clearly hasn't happened. I think the AJ undercards have got significantly worse as time's gone on, including this weekend just gone. But I think that back to the fight, I think that the evidence was really there. All the things that Andy mentioned, like the great chin, we've seen him rocked against Povetkin, White more significantly, obviously down against Klitschko, so that's a bit of a myth. One punch power's not really been in evidence since he was fighting people like Gary Cornish. I think he struggled against Povetkin, a smaller guy. He went the distance with Parker, should have really got rid of him. Struggled at times against Takam, late replacement, smaller guy. So the evidence was there. It's not like you know it was an impossible to beat him. The evidence was kind of there. We all wrote Andy Ruiz off, including me. I didn't for 1 second consider even getting up to watch this fight or buying it. That's how much of a foregone conclusion I thought it was, as did most other people's. But I think that a lot of the time he jabbed for the sake of it, almost like he was fitting the stereotype of I'm the bigger guy fighting a smaller guy, I'm just going to jab and move. Now, he jabbed a lot, but I thought there was a lot of them were blocked very easily by Ruiz on his gloves. Ruiz obviously he had the head movement that he needed as the smaller guy, but a lot of jabs he blocked on the gloves easily, like very easily. And I don't think Joshua very often built on the jab. He didn't often follow it up with a right hand. He didn't hardly ever do a double jab. It was just for the sake of it, like that was the game plan, and you know they didn't build on it. I thought that was I didn't think that was great from him. I thought the third round was absolutely tremendous. Ruiz obviously had a clear game plan of not only countering, throwing at the same time as Joshua, as Andy I think alluded to. Don't hook with a hooker. He was doing it quicker than Joshua. He wasn't doing the countering in the traditional, Floyd Mayweather way, letting the guy miss and then throw one. He was throwing at exactly the same time as Joshua, and it paid off from an early stage. Clear strategy, and obviously that's paid off as well. Until today, I hadn't really decided what I made of the finish, but it did, like I say, it did stink of a bit of a quit, really, and it was unsatisfactory all round for Joshua. He looked far too happy to have lost. He looked far too happy before, during, and after the event. It was strange to look something amiss. I don't really know what to make of it. Something might come out in the wash, but hasn't done as yet. I just think, in mind to the future, there was only one major winner for me on Saturday night, and he was stood ringside, and that's Mr. Usyk. I think now Ruiz is there. I think he's going to be prepared to take these fights across broadcasters and stuff like that, and possibly he's going to be cheaper than Joshua. I think the belts might fragment because we've got this rematch. So
the IBF might fragment the belts, might they?
I think it's going to fragment, and I think we're going to see.
It's like they did last time. The fucks.
Yeah. I think we're going to see Usyk with a belt sooner rather than later. And in terms of the rematch, I mean, I thought about it for a second, like I think you said, Steve or Andy, retirement. I have kind of considered that.
Yep.
I'm not saying he's going to do it either way, but it's something that's gone through my head.
I wouldn't be surprised. You could maybe see him like converting to like Buddhism or Islam or something, and saying that it's not compatible. It's something weird like that.
It's interesting because remember what Dave Lee, I think it was Dave Lee we were talking to about it, and he says, remember when Naz got beat up Barrera and he had the rematch clause in the contract, and he never once thought about exercising. He had one fight, then he retired. Does Joshua even think about wanting a rematch? But I'll put it this way. Whatever he does next, fighting wise, you must win.
What happens if he fights Ruiz again and just takes the belts back off him? Then we'll be back to square one. Then won't we?
We would.
Well,
but
if it happens, we'll just be in mandatory. We'll just be in the guise of the mandatory for forevermore.
Plus,
just before Dave, 1 sec. Just before I bring you in, sorry, I need to pick you up on something, Smido, because you mentioned about Eddie Hearn going forward. And I need to jump in here because I need to give Eddie a bit of credit, because Henry Wade jumped in on Twitter and said 100% credit to Eddie Hearnsmith. Make no excuses for Joshua. Did lots of interviews and handled the moment tremendously well. He's a great promoter who has built a great, deep stable of fighters. He will be fine without Joshua at the top of the sports mid.
No chance.
There is not a deep stable of fighters. I can, if he wants credit for facing it up, then he can have credit. You know, fair play. He did all the interviews and whatnot, but that's the job. That's his job at the end of the day. He ain't going to get praise from me for that. But no, his stable is got. His stable is a lot thinner now than it was when AJ first won the title, for example. You know, what we're talking maybe 3.5 years ago. Yeah, so obviously that a massive earthquake in Matchroom towers on both sides of the Atlantic happened on Saturday. I think they'll be all right in the short term in terms of the rematch. Yeah, but it's massive for them. My only thinking was, Steve, is on a little bit of a tangent. When does the trainer get the blame?
Oh, they'll get rid of him.
No, they can't. I'll tell you what. See
I
that
think they
picture? See that picture he posted up on Twitter, Joshua, with his entire fucking crew. They need binned. The only people he needs there is somebody that carries water bucket and fucking Robert McCracken. Everybody else
reeked
gets
of
the
Riddick Bowe, Andy. It reeked of Riddick Bowe, I thought.
Fucking hell. And another thing, babe, can we get on the
AKA Skins. Don't can AKA Skins anyway. He'll never get the fucking right again in his life if he gets canned.
Can we just mention up here the comment here about the scorecards? Because Joshua's had it quite fucking, cushy on some of these scorecards and stuff like that in the past. But to have him up on one of the scorecards, 57-56.
Well, the DAZN guy, Andy, had a shoe in that AJ was ahead. I think, was it Barry Tompkins maybe?
Barry Tompkins. Oh, by the way, I see Barry Tompkins dropped his famous Leonard Hagler moment when the fight ended. How do you like it? How do you like it?
Did they?
Brilliant, aye. But no, well, I actually watched the DAZN feed and that, but there's no way Joshua should be winning that fight on any card at any point, because he clearly lost the 6th round and clearly lost the 3rd. So you can't tell me he never won. I mean, for me, he clearly won the 4th, but I believe some of the judges didn't give to him.
I think he lost the 4th. Joshua.
No, I'm talking about Ruiz won the 4th, mate.
Oh yeah. Ruiz won the 4th.
Smido mentioned an earthquake both sides of the pond. Talking of earthquakes, everybody in the chat, James O'Shea has dropped a question for you guys to think about. Outside of Ruiz, says James, who is the fattest world title holder? This was put to me at 6 a.m. in a casino after the fight, says James. So he was obviously over in New York. So the fattest world title holder. The first that came to my mind is actually bullshit. I thought of Kirk Johnson, but he didn't actually win the world title. So there you go. So have a think, everybody. James O'Shea wants to know the fattest world title holder, if it's not Ruiz. Any thoughts on that, Andy, quickly before we bring Dave in?
A quick one I was going to put out there was Butterbean, but I don't. Did he hold a world title?
Oh God, no, I don't think so. Unless it was WBN or something.
Big George was fat when he came back.
Yes, that's a good point.
Maybe Value Ev as well.
Also, sorry to cut across everybody, but Jason Chukwu is in the chat. Yes. Announcement: Jason Chukwu is in the chat. He wants to come on the pod.
Ooh,
he was right. I have a Chukwu clip. We're going to go back in time very shortly. So bear with us.
Gio on the pod tonight, Steve. Joseph Gio, get him on.
I couldn't. Yes, a few people have asked for Dr. Joseph Ajao, THD, PhD. Now, I have contacted him and he hasn't responded, but he did put a message up on Twitter and he said, Anthony Joshua, before I will start talking about your yesterday's lost, I want to know the tactician or the technical advisor who told you to come in light into the ring yesterday evening, and the dietitian who took Ayan, Aguzi, Iba, and okro soup away from your menu. So Joseph seems to think that the lack of Nigerian soup was to blame.
Sweet Caroline.
What about David?
By times never seen so glum, so glum, so glum. I'm not feeling fine.
Go on, Smith.
What's his name? What was that? David Tua? Did he win a world title?
No, he didn't. I don't think he did I? No.
Because he was nice and round.
Oh, he was. He was very rotund, wasn't he? He had a good engine on him, though, Tua. So, same as Ruiz. Maybe these fatties can move.
Remember Tony 2 tons Gelento. I think Joe Lewis smashed him up in like something like 5 rounds.
He did.
He's a racist as well.
2-ton Tony Galento dropped Joe Lewis before that fight.
Aye.
Or before the fight. During the fight, and got knocked out then.
Before the fight. Doing a Larry Holmes. Right, anyway, we'll get to you very shortly, Rob. Let's go on to Dave, first of all, Dave. Friend of the pod, Dippo Osho. I'm going to be reading out a lot of questions, a lot of comments, by the way, guys. Apologies in advance. We have been inundated with questions, comments, Bellew of the Week, statements, all sorts, Dave. So Dippo Osho said, something's not right. Have you ever seen a champion so happy to lose his belts? It's almost like AJ bet his $35 million on himself to lose, and now he's the happiest man alive. I can't get my head around it, says Dippo. His interviews and post-fight press conferences, he's all smiles and happiness. What does he know that we don't?
it's a complicated question because obviously none of us have ever been inside AJ, aside from Andy Ruiz Jr. I would
Nice
say,
Dave, like it.
I would say this was part of what made me almost agree with you, Steve. Almost agree with you and feel a little sorry for him is the class with which he handled defeat. He was very gracious, very congratulatory towards Andy Ruiz. But then I had to remember the whole he's a member of the superior black race, and I was like, fuck him. Glad to see him lose. But yeah, it's more so than hate. It's not really hate for AJ. It's hate for the cult and the hype and the nonsense that as we said previously. As far as his reaction, he's been under a ton of pressure. I didn't follow it that closely, but on American TV, he was getting put through the ringer really. On like Kellerman's show by Stephen A. Smith, these guys were demanding like answers of him as far as why haven't you fought either of the other two, Fury or Wilder? And they would play clips of Wilder and Fury talking shit about him. And AJ honestly did not have great answers for that. He knew he was in almost a no-win situation because he had to do something like what Wilder did to Brazil against a much less aesthetically dangerous opponent, just in terms of body type. Clearly, I think Andy Ruiz has proven himself far better than Dominic Brazil. And there's just this massive pressure as far as he knows he's vulnerable. He knows he's had some struggles, especially against shorter guys. I think he was afraid to lose to a guy like Wilder or Fury, more afraid to lose to something like that than against a guy that he genuinely likes. Ruiz was very classy, said he was the ideal champ in fight week. Maybe AJ was just sort of relieved to have that first loss pressure off of him. So, I mean, he did look walking to the ring as though he had a great weight on his shoulders. And it was kind of removed as far as the pressure. Like, he's got a whole country. He's carrying a whole country's sport on his back in many ways. And now that he's lost, he can kind of do his own thing as far as he can either live privately, leave the sport behind him, or just rebuild at his own pace. I'm not sure if that's going to last, but I could understand it from that perspective. I'm not saying that was what was actually going on in his head. Just like we can't really know what was going on in his head or his heart at the end of the fight. I mean, it looks like a quit to some of you. To me, it might have been more of I think it was more of a brain thing than a heart thing. I think he was seriously concussed and didn't really know what was going on at the time. I don't think he could even understand what the ref telling him to walk to him. He probably thought it was still getting the 8 count. I mean, it looked to me
Dave, what do you make of the comment in the corner when he said to Robert McCracken, "Why do I feel like this?" I've had a few comments coming in, one in particular that said he thought they meant, why do I feel like this? I don't feel like I normally do. There's maybe something missing that I don't usually have, if you get what I mean.
Well, the Nigerians are saying he was poisoned.
No,
just like
he's back. He's enrolled in VADA now, so he's got to watch what he's doing, isn't he?
Obviously, Ajay would say that he was lacking the soup, so he wasn't feeling his best. I think it probably is like his brains were scrambled. After that left hook to the temple, he never recovered after the first big punch, and he had to eat several more as the fight went along as well. Even though he did manage to land a couple good shots after round 3, they never had the impact of that first knockdown shot, and I don't think he ever recovered his confidence either. As far as the fattest belt holder, I was going to say James Toney, Fat Tub of Goo himself.
Yeah, Lucas Brown was mentioned, though he wasn't that fat when he won it, was he?
No, he wasn't that fat. He was just particularly fat against Dillian White. Hey, Ozzy could be happy that might be Dave Allen, next fattest heavyweight title holder.
Yeah, I wouldn't have thought so.
Where was the AJ? Breaking news, who dropped him in sparring?
I'm still sceptical about this, Andy.
Well, he's put it out there anyway, at least. So World Boxing News is basically broke the news. There was rumours going to be obviously that Joshua got handled in sparring, badly hurt, badly dropped, and that heavyweight contender's meant to be one other than the European champion himself, Agat Kabayel, the man that beat.
Do you think he's trying to claim it though, Andy? Even though it wasn't him, you know the way groups try to claim things.
Well, suppose, but at the end of the day, is I was saying to Ozzy and that I'm surprised word hasn't really broke about what happened. Now it's starting to break. Now they're maybe finding we can make a wee maybe some money off the back end of this and stuff. But he's been into detail here and that. It's understood Kabayel put Joshua on the canvas hard when he traded blows, something which may have had that's what I said, have a profound effect on the ex-unified ruler mentally. I think mentally, but at the same time, if he was concussed, like off that knockdown, as I says, it has its knock-on effect. You've got to be out of contact for at least 6 to 8 weeks, and he's got into a fight. Oh, yeah.
Right, go on, Dave, before we bring Rob, anything to add?
Just one more thing I wanted to add as far as the future. Not only is the aura gone from AJ in terms of his confidence is damaged now. He knows he can lose. He knows he can be stopped even. But for all his opponents in the future, they're going to have seen this fight. They're going to know, I can do this. Andy Ruiz can do this. I can do this too. And they're going to give it maybe more than they would have otherwise. And they're probably going to take more chances. Maybe even use the similar tactics, like the head movement from Andy Ruiz was very very effective, and that set up some of the big counters. AJ was missing wildly over his head, and we knew he was vulnerable to that sort of those sort of tricks from Povetkin and Takam. A shorter guy made him miss, made him look dumb over their heads. And one more thing, in that you guys had mentioned, a lot of people I suppose are mentioning. Well, Lennox Lewis has been knocked out, and he came back. Tommy Turbo in the chat, or Turbo Tommy, I don't remember what is it, in the live chat mentioned that Lennox Lewis was done by one big punch. Last night or Saturday night, AJ was systematically battered down in a lot of ways. So
yeah,
he was ragdolled, mate.
There's difference between Lewis, I think, and the way Rackman did him and McCall did him. I think, yeah, definitely. Anyway, other commenters coming from Paul Massingham. He said, I know Ruiz does look like a bag of spanners, so people took the piss all week. Had the casuals watched him fight Parker a few years ago, they'd realise he's game as fuck, who, in my opinion, won that Parker fight by 1 or 2 rounds.
What?
I'm glad this has happened, Andy, to AJ, says Paul Massingham. He's overrated, been saying it a while, that the longer AJ, Fury and Wilder weren't going to fight each other, someone was going to pull off an upset. That's the problem, isn't it, Andy? When you're waiting for the big fights, there's always a chance someone could get picked off.
Yeah, that was always going to be the worry. But just to go back to the point there, which I actually fucking forgot. Go and read that comment out again, mate. Sorry.
He said the casuals.
That's
the
it,
casuals
Parker
watched the fight Parker. Yeah.
Be honest, everybody on the panel, cast your mind back to that fight and think to yourself: did that same fighter show that he had today what he did there?
I'll be honest, Andy, a few people have said since that they thought Ruiz won that fight. I couldn't even remember that fight, to be honest. I know that it was on at like 10 o'clock in the morning. That's about all I can remember.
I can remember Parker winning the first half of that fight and then probably slightly tiring, but I've never seen Ruiz attack Parker like he attacked Joshua. I think, again, it was down to it's probably the fact that he was in his own country and that as well, but, bigger opportunity. I don't know. It's a lot of variables, I suppose, in that, but it's just
you could assume maybe he learned something from that.
Yeah, I suppose he's 3-4 years wiser, I suppose, and that he knows that an opportunity is going to come again. Chance, major money. I mean, you're going to walk through fire, I suppose, if you know you've got a big payday at the back end of it,
Right, if anybody wants to come on the call, let me know in the chat. By the way,
can I just say something? Yep. See the people who shout out in that fight. They need to get a good fucking slap and good look at themselves. By the way, how many people passed up on that fight? Forget Wilder and Fury. Who was the other ones? It was called
Kovnacki,
Ortiz
and Kovnacki. You had your chance, boys, and that wee fucking. As I said, the wife looked at my shoulder and says, "Wait, that wee fat guy beat him." Well, that wee fat guy just fucking became heavyweight champion. By the way, took his chance. As I say again. He's set for life. As I say, one of the guys who was in a situation who didn't allow the moment to define him. He defined the moment, and that's all you can do. And that is, he did it emphatically. Heavyweight champions will come and go. Fighters will lose their titles here and there, and that. But it's the manner in which you lose and win your title, and the manner in which you win and lose it, man. Doing it will always for the next 50 years. It will always come up.
Well,
Right,
Dillian White
right,
as
Smith,
well.
go quickly so I can bring Rob and Donnie in, please.
Dillian White. I've got a question for a bit later on. How would Jarrell Miller have got on with AJ Saturday? Obviously, if he was in the ring.
There you go, everybody in the chat. Let us know how Jarrell Miller would have got on. Sarah Fina has been tweeting away saying, as if Jarrell's some kind of victim. It could have been Jarrell Miller, yes, Sarah. If he hadn't been pumping his body full of all this toxic shite, then it very well could have been. We'll get to you in a minute, Donnie. Great to have you on the call. First of all, rapping Rob Kelly, I have a question for you on Ruiz. Before we get to that, Declan Graffin jumped in. He said, is the curse of Drake the only way to derail Prince Patel's reign of terror?
I don't think Prince Patel is quite on Drake's radar yet, but you know, oh, what a night! What a night!
What a night!
The fucking I was at a music festival. I was at Forbidden Fruit on Saturday with the woman. We were up watching Skepta and a few others, and I was running into different people. I don't get as excited about concerts anymore because we do music for like over 15 years. But I was on the bus on the way home because I'm not really with the fucking after parties at this age. You know what I mean? So I was on the bus on the way home, and
This is Ruiz's moment, Rob. Come on, not yours.
Threw on the Sky Card, watched the whole thing, and I was awake still, and I was like, you know what? Fuck this! I'm not going to go to bed. There's something in the air. There's something in the air here tonight with these results.
Something drifting in the air.
Pretty Boy Kelly's result, Katie Taylor's fight. It was all fucking pointing to something was going to happen.
In the air tonight.
Usyk is up dancing to Sweet Caroline. It's fucking getting jiggy with it. It's fucking looking great. Everything's and AJ comes out and all of a sudden something doesn't look right. And to me, I thought he lost the first round. Gave him maybe the second round. Third round he gets on top, and then Ruiz gets up, rolls the shot, left hook to the ear, David Price style. He's out of the game. And I thought the bell saved him in the third round. And from then on, it was just a matter of time. And massive credit to Andy Ruiz, not just for being patient, but he old-manned him. Every time they were in the clinch, he's hitting him around the back, hitting him on top of the ear, hitting him wherever he can. AJ doesn't know what to do. And I just feel so vindicated, although I rooted against Ruiz and thought that the curse of Drake was the only shot. Not rooted against him. I predicted against him. I definitely rooted for him from the Mexican connection. But I just feel so vindicated because I've been saying for years, and we all have here, this fella's not. Don't fucking say he's the next Larry Holmes. Don't say he has the aura of Mike Tyson. Don't compare him to Ali, roll him in on a screen with a big white gown on him. Don't even mention him in the same sentence as those guys. Sugar Ray Robinson, as Adam Smith was mentioning him in the same breath, comparing him to the great Sugar Ray Robinson. This fella was a fraud. It was a manufactured marketing scheme from day one. A big, good-looking guy with a good body who could punch a little bit. And that's it. He's been going back in straight lines for his whole career. He's been blowing a gasket for his whole career. He's been matched perfectly. 8 world title fights. 4 of them were against Charles Manton, Dominic Breazeale, old man Povetkin. Klitschko sat on the fucking sofa for 2 years. Like, come on, this was going to happen when he fought a good guy. And I remember clearly saying on one of the parts, after a good heavyweight's going to beat this fella. And he doesn't know what to do when he gets hit either. Complete panic stations in the corner. I do think he was concussed. I actually held off a little bit on celebrating because his behavior was so bizarre after he got hit that I actually was worried that he had a brain injury because look at him in the middle of the rounds to Rob McCracken. Rob McCracken is panicking. He knows there's something. He knows there's something amiss with this fella, and they've been hiding that with him. It's not just the rumours that he got dropped this time in sparring. There's rumours going back 5-6 years ago the fellas are knocking him out in sparring. Daniel Dubois is another one that's supposed to have done it. There's others out there in Britain claiming they've knocked him out in sparring. So they've been hiding glass on the chin with this fella, as well as his gas tank always being an issue, but being matched so well that they've been hiding it. But everything fell apart from the other night, and all of those aspects got exposed by Andy Ruiz. You get him, I have been saying for years, you get this fella past 6 rounds, you have a chance of beating him because he blows. I do think the VADA thing, it's kind of suspicious to me. He didn't look as bulky as he's looked previously.
And he wasn't as explosive, was he? He wasn't explosive either.
And he didn't get that second wind. But technique-wise, he's terrible. He's pushing the jab out, pushing it out, and when he's pushing it out, he's leaving it down by his waist, and Ruiz is capitalizing on it by closing the space, stalking him, and Ruiz is not even long himself.
And also, Rob, I thought Ruiz did a good job early on of making himself a small target. If you looked at Joshua, he seemed to me like he was leaning forward slightly. His shoulders were hunched up, and he was having issues working out the smaller man.
Well, that's the, Steve, nail on the head. He wasn't able to make the adjustment to fight into an opponent like that. We saw shades of that in the Takam fight as well, who's trash, by the way. Takam, he's a mediocre fighter, iced by Derek Chisora, and he was giving AJ kittens and making him blow because he couldn't hit him because he was crouching, and he didn't make that adjustment, and in fact he looked worse because when he was pulling out, then his chin was in the air. So I mean, you know, if the fight, it is margins in boxing. I don't buy into all this. He got knocked out in sparring, something wasn't right. All right, maybe. Tyson got dropped in sparring before Buster Douglas as well, but nobody talks about that anymore. Oliver McCall doesn't get mentioned in the build-up. It was all about, you know, Buster's night, and whatever happens, maybe it was an off night for him. The AJ hype train has firmly come to a halt now. People know, even the casual fans after turning on him. And I don't wish that on him.
They hate him.
I don't wish it on him, on the chap himself. But Eddie, when you listen to the shit that he's been coming on in this week, there was an IFL video where AJ is getting interviewed by Coogan. And then it pans, he's like, you know, you're going to go meet Wilder and ask him to fight you face to face. And then the camera pans to Eddie and he's sitting there with his legs crossed like some kind of fucking Camp Bond villain, like with Rupert, dressed like Rupert de Beer. And he said, test his manhood. We have to test his manhood. And then start talking about Fury, or making derogatory statements about Fury being, he has no belts. He has no belts. Well, guess who has no belts now? AJ. And it's not AJ anymore. It's not Anthony Joshua. It's a journey, because this has now become a journey. You know, AJ has now faced the taste of defeat. He no longer has the pressure to win on his shoulder. And this is part of the journey. And another thing, AJ, they all say he showed humility in defeat. I thought the fucking opposite. I know he might have been concussed, but he hijacks fucking Ruiz when he's having his moment to tell him that this is Ruiz's moment. Oh, no, it's not about me. I'm just interrupting the guy. You know, Andy, congratulations. I'm out now. No, this is AJ's moment. But it's all about me. It's all about me. He got beaten. There's a vanity to him. And it was like the other night when he got hit that his circuits had scrambled. The robot, his circuits had scrambled because he started cursing in the interview. He was making different types of remarks in the press conferences. And then he's all of a sudden getting back to the script. Oh, this is a journey. It's part of the plan. I think he suffers from having too, like the guys alluded to already, too many yes men around him, too big of a team, too big of a machine. Get back to fighting. Right? You've got 80 million. Get back to fighting if you want to be the best. But I think this has shown that he's never going to go down as one of the greats, like we always said. And I think Andy said it as well. Frank Bruno wouldn't have even gone out like that. Fuck me. Look how meekly he went out of the fight. He doesn't know. Yep. You tell me.
You had to put Bruno out the ring. You had to really hit him, like, to get rid of him.
You never knocked Bruno out. You never knocked him out. He basically got stopped on the ropes or got held up by the ropes. Fucking AJ quit.
I believe he looked for a way out with the spitting out of the mouthpiece. It wasn't like, I didn't think he had the nous to kind of like corral it where he's buying himself a few seconds. I thought he was like, I'm going to spit the mouthpiece out now, and you know, I'll get to the end of this round. But he's waiting for him to pull him out, or he was looking for a way out. He didn't. You tell me Big Fury gets hit with a shot and gets dropped like that, and he doesn't get up and headlock Andy Ruiz and wrap him up and move him around back to the middle of the ring. He didn't know what to do. He turned his head away when he was getting hit in the third round. He's turning away from the fighter, turning his back almost on him.
See, what I didn't want to hear. He's only had X amount of amateur fights, and he's only 20. He's only a kid, and he's only learning. But as I keep saying, I said about Devin Haney last week. He's 20-year-old. That boy. You put him in a world title on his back, and he's got a target on him. Dude, if he's not fucking ready for it, what's going to happen? He's going to wash out and wash up. That's what Joshua did. Maybe mentally, he wasn't fit and prepared to, because that heavyweight title is a heavy crown. As the saying goes, heavy lies a crown, and it's washed out a few good champions back the years. By the way, Tyson Fury, Mike Tyson, for example, as well. There's fucking Joshua just washed out. Fucking Vladimir's washed out as well at some point as well when he was champion in his first reign. So it's heavy weather.
Right, Rob, are you done for now? We will return shortly to you.
Yeah, I know. I had another point to make, but I'll come back to it. I got to get a bit too excited.
No problem. We'll just take Rob's blood pressure right down. Let's welcome our first guest of the evening onto the call, Hammer in Hamed. It's the Cardiff Crusher. Hamed, how are you?
Yeah, how's it going? It's been a long
not too
time.
bad at all, Hamed. You sound pumped. I've got a question for you from Blue Book Bible. He said, did AJ seem very odd, Hamed, when speaking in the corner to Rob McCracken? It seemed like he didn't know what was going on.
Yeah, it was. I was talking about this on one of the Hangout groups. People kept bringing up, because I'm a fan, innit? I'm not a fanboy, but, you know, I've been following the guy's career, and I think he's good for boxing. But people are saying, like, don't make excuses. So I just dropped him. But I did hear him saying in the corner that I think he was like, why am I feeling like this? So there was obviously something wrong with him. But I even said he still should have beaten Ruiz. And I think the main reason he lost that fight was because I don't think he showed him respect. When he dropped him, he tried going out there and swinging. You got to show your opponent respect. You can't. Ruiz is a tough guy and a very durable guy. And when he fought Joseph Parker, I was even seeing he could be better than everyone Wilder and Joshua's fought. But then he just went inactive for like a couple of years. And I think last night they showed Ruiz was much better than Gerald Miller. I was saying that for a while. And he was better than who was the guy? Walter? Was it Brazil? Dominic Brazil. And Joshua, I think Joshua, his game plan was all wrong. He wasn't jabbing. He wasn't moving. He was throwing way too many right hands. We'll never know. I still think he was in for a tough fight because he was gassed after the second or third round. So
Why was that, Hamed? Speculate. Why do you think?
I think his body language is very weird. He looked nervous. I don't know if the occasion got to him, like coming out of his comfort zone. Like normally when he's fighting in front of, what is it, 80, 90,000 fans. And I've been to a couple of his fights in Cardiff. Like he's got all the crowd with him, screaming his name, the usual chant. Here, it does make a difference. So that shows that going on the road, guys like Fury who have done it a couple of times and won their big fights, you got to give them credit. So I don't know if it was that or if the whole preparation was wrong, because I've heard someone was saying he got knocked out in sparring. If that's the case, then either his mentality wasn't right for the fight or he wasn't training right, because to me it looked like he was too heavy for the fight as well. Now, even then, even in this case, he still should be beating Ruiz. So I give Ruiz credit. Like Ruiz did something which no one expected, but to weigh 250 after what happened with Takam and almost 250, I think he was 247, and Klitschko, Joshua or his strength conditioner has to take blame. I've seen a lot of people blaming McCracken, but I think that's ridiculous.
Yeah, what about this then? Danny Young said, Hamed, did you think that there was a total disregard for the instructions McCracken was trying to give in the corner? He asked for the double jab straight right, and it didn't come at all.
He wasn't listening, and if you don't listen to your corner, that's what will happen. Even I think the first round is okay. He approached it all right, and I thought we got a fight on our hands. I think this could go maybe mid to late rounds. When he dropped him, I think that's when his game plan completely went out the window. But even before that, he wasn't. I don't think he was impressive. Like he was throwing too many right hands, and Ruiz was faster than him. So when that was the case, he should have. The way he boxed Joseph Parker and even Carlos Takam, I think Ruiz now has got a case. He's better than both of those guys, definitely. He should have approached it like that. He should have used his distance. Yeah, go for it.
Jason Chukwu, everybody. Jason Chukwu. Go on, Jason.
Like, it's an embarrassing. Ruiz wouldn't even beat Michael Hunter, if we're being honest. Let's be honest. Come on, it's a terrible loss. But I'll let the guy go on.
Yeah, Hamed, final one to you. You appreciate we've got a lot of people looking to get on. It is a busy show. Ant Lydon, 100, finally, he says to you, Hamed, now that Anthony Joshua has been beaten and exposed, do you think we will see him rapidly decline as he has now lost that fear factor?
I'll say this. He's got his chance in the rematch. No one really saw this coming. I think this could be either a blessing in the disguise or he could have the same problem David Price had, because if he starts gassing again and crumbling, I don't think his chin is that bad compared to David Price. Like I wouldn't go on that level, but his chin is quite suspect. But it is heavyweight boxing. But I'll say this: if he loses the rematch and he ends up the same way, and if it's especially in Wembley in England and he ends up like that, his career could be virtually over on the decline. I'll say this, though, he's lucky he wasn't Wilder in there, because if that happened against Wilder, that people would, I think some of the people in his team are yes men, and people would have just sugarcoated what happened, because they would have just said it was a big puncher. Now I think they've been brought down to reality, because guys like Barry Hearn and Adam Smith were comparing him to, I don't know if it's Adam Smith, but I think it's Barry Hearn, to Ernie Shavers, and they put so much pressure on the guy. And I don't know if Joshua crumbled, because he was meant to fight Dylan White. The way I think Hearn has been promoting him this year hasn't been good. Like, I think they put too much pressure on him, and he might have, if the pressure probably got to him, and it looked like he kind of cracked.
Pressure got to him, says Hamid. Looks like he could have cracked. Moving on, what's your Twitter in case anybody wants to give you a shout out, Hamid?
Hamid, that's Hamed, and then __ Zaman.
Excellent stuff. Great to have you on as always, sir. You're welcome back anytime.
Yeah, appreciate that. Good speaking to you guys.
Cheers, Hamid. All the best. That is, let's just eject Hamid, shall we, from the call in the nicest possible way. Donnie's back on the call. Be with you in very shortly, Donnie. We've got Jason Chukwu on here. Jason, before we get to AJ, I think we need to go back in time to last week and give you a bit of credit. Have a listen to this, Jason. This is last week. Jason Chukwu making a prediction. Also, Jason Chukwu is convinced that Tommy Coyle has zero chance against Chris Algieri. He says he'll come on the pod next week if he's wrong. He said there's more chance of Madeline McCann being found in Neverland than Coyle beating Algieri. So Chukwu's ready, Rob. He's gonna come on and put his money where his mouth is. There we are. Straight back up to today, Jason. Congratulations. Oh, just ended up playing that again.
a retard could have made that prediction. I mean, I was surprised at Algieri's eyes at the end of that fight. He looked like his eyes against Provodnikov. But yeah, yes, that AJ fight, that was a culmination of 5 years of Eddie Hearn shithousery, if we're being honest. I mean, before George Frochgroves too, like, he was actually a good promoter, but since then he got greedy from making barely cleverly pay-per-view from other shit. I mean, oh my god.
Not happy then, Jason. Did you pay for it, did you?
No, I watched it on the stream. Team stream all day.
Team stream all day, says Jason. Talking about streams and all that type of stuff, you did mention Tommy Coyle there. The whole thing, the whole night didn't go well, did it? You got Tommy Coyle getting stopped on the undercard. Katie Taylor about won and no more. She got tagged a fair bit. Josh Kelly drew as well. You know, DAZN were pushing AJ along the American route. I don't think Eddie necessarily wanted him to go there. There's money to be made in the UK on Sky. You've got DAZN, Jason, poking their nose into matters, forcing AJ over there. You know, they're getting more stretched than Devon Alexander's anus at the moment.
Yeah, well, that's different.
Talking about anuses, he got stretched out the other night there as well, didn't he?
We'll come to that.
Red cut as well, I heard that. But the thing is, I didn't even want to see him fight Miller. I wanted Pulev if it wasn't Wilder or Fury, if I'm being honest. I wanted Pulev versus AJ.
The thing is, though, Jason, Miller got popped. Then you've got Ruiz who came in early on. The visuals weren't great, were they? You've got in HD, you've got Ruiz there with his fat rocking back and forward like a slow tide of water. He was a lot shorter than AJ. I had people who don't even watch boxing texting me saying, why is Joshua fighting Butterbean? And then to top it all off, he goes and beats him.
That's the same thing. I was arguing with my dad whether this was a big fight. He was saying, it's a big fight because it's a heavyweight. I was like, no way, this is a joke. That's how much people didn't. Even casuals were thinking this was a joke as well. So, yeah, AJ's finished. You know, I mean, I don't know what he's going to do next. I mean, he's got, like Andy was saying, like a lot of the people that in that picture, he's got a lot of leeches in that squad, second cousins that people just only started coming since he started getting popular as well. So he's fucked at the minute.
Yeah, where would these second cousins be if it wasn't for boxing and the 10, 20, 30 million pound paydays he's getting, eh?
Yeah, exactly.
Nowhere to be seen, mate.
He's paying for all of them for flights as well. Like,
yep,
it's
hotels.
Well,
crazy, man.
Yeah.
Rather than lions in the camp, it's more leeches in the camp, Jason.
It is, man. I don't even know what to say. What was I going to say? Michael Hunter would beat Andy Ruiz.
Do you think so?
Yeah. Like Andy Ruiz, he's not like Wilder and Fury. Wilder just ices him 5 rounds. Fury just plays with him. But he has to get credit because like he has improved a little bit from the Joseph Parker fight, which a lot of people are saying is revisionist history. Like it wasn't a robbery at the time; it was a close fight. I did a draw at that time. So yeah, there's too much I could say about it. Yeah.
What about Ruiz's physical shape? Are you in good shape, Jason? Have you got a bit of a muffin top going on there? What's the story?
I've got a bit of man tits myself, so I can't really.
Have you?
Yeah, the old dad bods, eh?
It's not. It's like slim arms, but like the titties, it's terrible. It's out there. So.
Jason cycling it off.
And Andy Ruiz is going to be doing a lot better sexually now, though, for the fact that he's
Yeah.
Let's put fat guys on the map and that, eh? This doesn't really matter if you've got a 6-inch prick, as long as you've got 18 stone pushing it in, you know.
This is exactly what Jason came on for. Jason, what about a bit of credit to Manny Robles in the Andrew Ruiz corner? A few fighters have left him lately, but you know.
I didn't know that Ruiz left Bob Arum. I didn't even know that until a couple of days ago.
He's with Al Heyman now. Praise be to Al Heyman. I'm sure you'll agree with that sentiment.
God, Eddie Hearn wow. The look on his face was hilarious, though. So
you don't feel sorry for Eddie, no?
No, Hearn's a cunt. But Frank Warren's a cunt as well. He's bankrolling the show, so I just got to say that. So, yeah.
We wish he was bankrolling the show. Some fella wanted us to do fucking 4 hours for the Patreon. We looked it up. He's giving us $1 a month for fucking 4 hours.
$1 crawler, man. 63p.
Can't even get a drink out of that in euros, you dick. Give us a fiver.
I'll just say another thing. A lot of Nigerians that support AJ, they're only supporting him because he's popular and winning. Because like they don't even know who Duradola is. They don't know Afolabi. They don't even know Efe Ajagba. Like they probably don't even know who Samuel Peter is. So they're only on AJ's dick because he's winning. So
you don't know who Dr. Ajayo is.
Yeah, what about Dr. Joseph Ajayo, PhD, THD, Jason?
He's in that same thing. He wouldn't know who Afolabi is as well. So like we're being honest. So.
Jason, you Nigerian descent, mate?
Yeah.
I was just wondering, because you're naming all the Nigerian fighters like you just knew them and that, you know. So I need to have thought about the Nigerian fighters.
Jose Alusigan.
I remember how he waited for years to get these world title fights.
From Matite, that's right.
18 months, 2 years he waited.
What about Supergate, Jason? What about Supergate? Joseph Ajayo thought that it was something to do with the lack of soup.
No, that's just bants. So
banter from the doctor.
Apparently, Katie Taylor looked like shit yesterday, but I didn't see that. Women's boxing shit, by the way. Like,
it was a good fight, that, by the way. I'll be honest, it was a good fight.
I missed it, but like the only reason her and Curtis about it is because of what he saw in UFC. So
that was the best women's boxing match I've ever seen, actually.
Yeah, but I missed it.
Which isn't saying much, but it was pretty good.
Yeah, man. How did Buatsi look?
I didn't see him actually.
He looked just how he normally looked in that. Calm, composed. Dealt with his body, basically. Yeah.
I remember when the pay-per-views were like $14.95, Eddie Hearn pushed up to $9. That's another example of Hearn greediness as well, man.
Yeah, I want to see Buatsi at European level. I want to see him with like the Amadi that fought. I think he fought Gvozdyk, I think. Some of the German guys, not like Kohling or Bussell or something. You know, guys who have actually mixed around about the European level for a fair bit. Because he's not learning fighting like a Paraban and stuff like that. I mean, Paraban's washed.
Ain't Rico that guy that Beterbiev beat?
Kaladzic.
No, Enrico Kohling.
I swear Buatsi beat one of Beterbiev's former opponents, but I can't remember their name.
Don't know who's he fought. Beterbiev, Cloud, Kohling. Who was the Spanish guy who was on the scene? Or was he Argentinian?
Oh, yeah, Campillo.
Oh, I hear you. Why are we talking about this anyway?
I don't know.
I just wanted to mention on Hearn's greed. You know the way like it's been a PR stunt from day one. Like he never was a world champion. Like he beat Charles Manton, the guy who won the vacant title because the other guy blew out his knee. Yeah, right. So
I've always said Fury's the lineal champ, like you know.
1,000,000%.
And then Flag got handed the WBA belt because someone upgraded their. Just like in the light heavyweight division, Vojtik beat my guy Adonis, and now he's lineal champ as well. So
but they maneuvered him the whole time, so it was all a big maneuver with no live bodies. The likes of Takam, all these guys.
Even his two best wins, Klitschko and Povetkin, he was losing both of those fights. It would be,
and they're both past their prime, way past their prime. And Povetkin's way smaller than him. But I wonder, did he have a realization when Rocky was talking to Mickey about taking the Clubber Lang fight, and he was like, they were hand-picked, Rock. I wonder, was he like, shit, they were hand-picked, and then like...
You can't win, Rock. This guy kill you to death. It's like 6 rounds.
And Wilder's in the front going, hey, woman, I bet you drink about a real woman. and then Eddie Hearn jumps out to go, he gets no shot. But,
Tyson's that, woo, 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 woo.
Yeah, but I'm wondering, is it like was there a bit of realization for him maybe in the build up to the fight that shit, I'm not as good as they're fucking saying I am, you know what I mean? Something like that. But
Jason, one thing that occurred to me, a lot of people, myself included, were comparing AJ to Frank Bruno, but after thinking about it, Bruno was a tough dude.
My mum's even said that. AJ...
What about what I think would be a more... Oh, there you go. He's disappeared. I'll ask you instead, Rob. Do you know what might be a more apt description? The way AJ showed so much fragility and fell. He was like an Easter egg in front of the fire, wasn't he? Michael Grant He was like, Michael Grant fragility.
Yeah, I think he's very vulnerable. It's funny. It made me think back to a good few years ago before AJ even won a world title. I was after bringing me dad over to the Woody's hardware shop to get some stuff. And one of the lads there, I know him like from the football or whatever, he jumps out and he's into boxing. So every time I see him, he stops me to ask me different questions. He jumps out and he's like, Rob, what do you think of Joshua? And before I could say anything, my dad was like, a load of fucking shite. He's like, big muscles. He's like he can't breathe. He's like someone. And he's no chin. He's going to get starched. And your mom was like, you reckon? And my dad was like, yeah. So every time I see him now, he's like, I think your dad was right. I think your dad was right.
We need to get him on the pod in place of you, I think, Rob.
Yeah, he knows more than me anyway. That's for sure.
Right, Jason's back. Jason, final from you because I really need to bring Donnie in. Sorry, Donnie. Go on, Jason.
Oh yeah, what were we talking about? I forgot, man.
We're talking about AJ against Ruiz. It was on Saturday night.
My brain's gone. So no, I'll just leave the call. And my head's fried. So
no problem. Love you, Jason. Cheers for coming in the chat, man. Yeah. There we go, Jason Chuku.
Chuku's been working on his gas tank. He was a lot better tonight.
Yeah, he warmed into it, didn't he? He got behind the jab and warmed into it.
Having a look for the first few minutes, and then he took over.
Talking of warming into it, Donnie's like one of those floaters on the card who's been warming up for about 3 hours, waiting to get his opportunity.
He was like Andy Ruiz getting dropped, and he just came back up, hit the right hand, and kept moving forward.
Donnie, I can only apologise for keeping you waiting for this long. I am sorry, but please do jump in, sir. We want to hear from you about the big fight.
No, fuck off, Donnie.
It's good to be back for a little while. I'm at work, so I don't know how long I'll get to stay. But listen to this.
Until next ambulance passes your office, obviously.
Exactly. we just get right in the car and chase. No, but anyways, I mean, wow, that was just unbelievable. I actually almost missed the fight. I've had pneumonia all week last week, and I was pretty. And
hopefully not AIDS related, Donnie.
No. So
or Maggie Thatcher.
I was like, I was lucky that I slept all day, so that I woke up and I was like, oh, well, maybe I can at least watch this for a little while. So I was like, this should be over in a couple of rounds, and then I can go back to sleep. And it actually just literally brought me out of my illness. It was so exciting. Apparently, I get Moby Whale in the end.
Donnie, we're slightly losing you. I'm afraid the reception's going a little bit.
Donnie's suffering from the curse of Drake.
Donnie's got New York measles.
Wait,
maybe that's what AJ got.
How about now?
Yep, that's better. Go ahead. Yep.
I said apparently Anthony Joshua never read Moby Dick. I said because Moby Dick spent his time chasing a white whale, and then in the end, the white whale killed him. So
harsh, Donnie. Harsh reference.
But at least he won't have to worry anymore about making sustained efforts to stay humble, because Andy Ruiz humbled him permanently
and stumbled him
4 times. By the way, man down 4 fucking times, baby.
A lot of the things that I was going to say have already been said, and the one thing that I noticed as well was just that people have obviously made a lot of references to the Buster Douglas Tyson fight for obvious reasons, because it was a huge upset. But one thing that I remember a lot fight too was that there were a lot of times when they were, especially in the mid rounds of the fight of Tyson Douglas, is when they were in the clinches. It seemed as if Mike would like willingly accept the clinches, like he was happy to get a break, and Buster would just he'd punch his body, he'd punch his arms, he'd do anything, but he'd keep his arms moving, like as if to say, like, I can't wait to get you off me so I could just put my hands on you again. And I noticed that Ruiz basically did this very same thing, in the fight on Saturday night. Like he was working him in the clinches, and he was, he just like he literally, he didn't let him breathe, he didn't let him rest. He punched when he was punching, and he just. He used a lot of veteran tactics. I think people forget because, Josh was an Olympic champion, but, that kind of just came together very quickly for him. but he didn't have like a really long amateur career. And like Ruiz has been fighting for like a very long time since he was a little kid. He's Mexican, you know, they grow up with it. And, you know, and he really was the veteran guy in there, and it really showed. And he put all of those things that he had learned into practice in one magnificent night. And actually, I'm not really convinced that if this fight were to happen again, that it may not go the same way. Because it wasn't a one-punch knockout, as I think Dave said. It was a sustained. I don't want to say a sustained beating, but it was a sustained, you know, outclassing and outperforming in every single turn, and in every single facet of his craft. He was getting the best of Joshua at every exchange. And he didn't let, you know, punches go unanswered for a very long time. I mean, he was a better all-around fighter, and that's why he won. And I think it's very clear, also too, that I think Joshua has to have some sort of chin issues. I mean, you know, I know he's been wobbled before, and I know he took a huge shot off of Ladd, and he somehow managed to get up and come back from that. But I mean, you know, he just after that second knockdown in the third round, I believe he asked Rob McCracken, not immediately there afterward, but even the round after that, he said, "What punch got me? You know, what punch put me down?" Didn't he say that?
Yep.
Yeah.
He also said.
He didn't have any memory of it. I mean, like he must have got really damaged by that, and you know, I mean, he's got some liability. He's going to have to worry about big punchers. And, you know, I mean, obviously it's the heavyweight division. There's a lot of guys that hit really hard. So, you know, it's nothing to be ashamed of. He's obviously hung in there with big punchers before, but he doesn't have an iron chin by any means. And, you know, he needs to learn, but I don't know that he can learn in such a short period of time, like how to fight tall. You know, most of the best heavyweights of the last, you know, decade or so were trained by, you know, Manuel. And, you know, he taught him how to fight tall. And, of course, that wasn't exactly the most crowd-pleasing style, but it was effective for him to win. Maybe Joshua needs to get boring if he wants to get back to winning ways. That might be the only path forward for him is to really just, you know, jab and grab and kind of create boring fights and just use that size that God has given him to, you know, to pull out wins in some of these fights. But
maybe a comeback fight against Eddie Chambers, an infamous Vlad fight where Manny was screaming at him to finish him off.
Yeah.
There you go.
I remember that one, yeah. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what the path forward is for him, though. I'm serious. I don't know about anyone else. I really think that there's a good chance if he fought Ruiz again, he could lose.
Yeah, I think so.
I'd agree with that.
What were you going to say, Rob, about someone was saying something? I'm dying to know now.
No, he said in the corner as well, he said to Rob McCracken, he was telling him, like, just throw the jab, right hand, just one, two him, just box. And he was like, and what's he going to do? He was like, he's just going to come forward and try and stalk you. All right, okay, cool. And then he said, why am I feeling like this after that? Yeah. So he was clear. Like, at that stage, I was thinking, half of me was thinking, all right, Ruiz, go out and get the job done because he's gone. And the other half of me was thinking, this is very Gerald McClellan-esque, the way he's behaving in the corner. It was very, very strange.
I thought Oliver McCall, yeah.
Yeah, it was like, I was like, if he start blinking, and then I was wondering, like, has McCracken missed the trick here by not pulling him out, like, at the end of the third, because he's gone, like.
Yeah, Blockberry Bible said that as well. Robbie added on to one of his questions. He said, should they have even considered not even letting him out to fight in the first place if they knew something was going on?
Well, I think the stakes were so high, and I think.
Yeah, could you imagine that? Yeah.
If that's true, we've already had the pull out of one opponent. It'd be inconceivable for him to cancel at the Garden. He'd have to go through with it, but I think
collapse or something.
Yeah, there may be some truth in that. By the way, his dad reacted. Eddie tried to kind of pawn it off in the post-fight stuff and said he was upset about the referee. But I doubt he'd be that animated and that upset. Like, he surely didn't think it was a premature stoppage. Like,
no, I thought the referee was fine.
Yeah, like, that's what I'm saying. But his dad surely didn't think that's a premature stoppage and he's going to be remonstrating like that. So there may be something to that. Like, I'm not sure. But AJ was definitely in cuckoo land after the fight. Like, and in terms of the rematch, there may be major surgery needed on the camp. That's probably not going to happen. But there's also major surgery required on him as a fighter, fundamentally. He doesn't have any head movement. You know what I'm saying? We spoke about it already. He doesn't know how to wrap guys up if he gets hurt. He's not that mobile side to side either.
He lacks fighting instincts, do you think, Rob?
Yeah, I think he has good survival instincts or survival skills, rather than he's a little bit durable. He got up and everything. He kept trying to get up at least. But I think there was points in the fight where he was just going through the motions because he knew he hadn't got it to get back into the fight. And I think that was kind of obvious. And I think that's what we always thought about, how he was going to lose deep waters. Like, how does he react under deep waters? I don't know if he has it in him to find a way to win.
Back onto a Manny Robles theme. He was telling Ruiz, you need to get inside and throw, or step back so far that he can't get you. You know, you don't want to stand in this sort of halfway house because AJ will pick you off. Thought that was very clever again. Shout out to Robles, he did very well. You're listening to episode 325 of the Boxing Asylum Nuthouse podcast. That was Rob Kelly you were hearing from there. Andy Patterson as well. Donnie's on with us. And so is Dave the Hater Lowback. We have a special guest. Don't be confused, by the way, with Eddie Hearn's new podcast, as Mars alerted me to this week. Really excited to announce it, Eddie. My new podcast, No Passion, No Point, which quite resembled Saturday Evening for Eddie, unfortunately, there, regarding AJ's performance. So No Passion, No Point is Eddie Hearn's new podcast. We'll go and check that out. Dave's going over to iTunes right now while it still lasts. Delighted to welcome onto the call someone who hasn't been on for, I'd say it would be a good few years now, Paul McAllister. When was the last time you were on, Paul?
Oh, I don't remember, mate. I think well before AJ was champion.
Well, before AJ was champion, that was a long time ago, wasn't it? I had a question for you as well, but I've lost it now, so feel free to freestyle, sir.
There's something I've been thinking for a long time, and I don't say this to be like kind of distasteful or anything like that or cause trouble, but I don't think Josh was all there mentally, you know. I look at him and I just don't think the lift goes all the way to the top floor with him. Because whenever he talks in any of these interviews, whether he's on IFL with Coogan or when he's sat talking to the press or whether he's on like these sports shows like he was in America the other week, there's never any emotion in his voice, like real emotion. Like he doesn't get angry, he doesn't get like overly excited, he doesn't get like moody ever. And I don't believe he's just that naturally upbeat a guy. Nobody is. And after he got punched out by Ruiz, to be grinning the way he was grinning, it just reminded me of Victor Ortiz a lot. No, you just think there's something really, really not right there. When you look at them, you think this guy's there's something under the surface there that just really, really sets my alarm bells off with the guy. And I think it's something, I mean, again, I don't say it to be like, to make fun of him or anything, or to let's all laugh and joke about it or use it to rip him. But I think there's something that the public doesn't know about Joshua. Honestly,
do you know what I put that down to? I think he's that concerned with keeping the mask on. He's that vain.
I don't.
That he doesn't want to break character. Like.
Yeah, sorry. Sorry for interrupting. I thought that for a long time. But when you're still doing that after you've just been humiliated and knocked out in Madison Square Garden in front of the entire world, I think that would be the time the mask comes off. You know.
Yeah, but
honestly,
it seemed to me like he was more concerned with in post-fight in preserving that. Like, you know, quick, I got to hijack this thing and show how humble I am again.
I don't get
like a comfort zone, Robbie. You're saying, yeah, like a comfort zone.
I don't think he's that smart to be thinking to do that on the spot. That would be giving him too much credit. He can't surely think people are going to be patting him on the back for doing that. People are going to. He knows full well that his entire fan base are casuals, and the casuals are going to be laughing at him and making fun of him for losing. So if he actually showed a bit of emotion and he acted like a bit of a sore loser and pissed off, I'd actually kind of relate to him a little bit more, because I think that's what everyone else would do. You've just been beaten up by a big fat bastard. Let's get it right. And you're going to sit there smile and say, no, you're happy. And look what happened with Khan when he lost to Peterson. The guy lost his rag. And I know he got shit over it, but at least you knew he was being real. Like, well, yeah, he's genuinely looks like he's pissed off. His entire career's just gone up. His career's just basically been ripped to shreds, and all the best laid plans have gone down the toilet. I think even if he did that, even Eddie and Sky would kind of understand. Like, they'd say, you know, AJ's upset. Of course he is. And how many of these fighters like don't turn up to press conferences? And I'm all for him doing all that, by the way. I do think it's good that he fronted up for the cameras, but if he's going to front up, I'd like to see him at least be serious and like be honest. And I don't for one second believe that he's completely happy and he's for Ruiz and he's taken the defeat graciously and things like that. I genuinely think that there's something under the hood that makes me really think the guy Josh was got some sort of issue. I really do think that.
Paul, moving forward, we had a messaging from Greg Cross before the fight. He said Deontay Wilder announcing the pointless Luis Ortiz rematch is a sign of things to come from Team Wilder, in my opinion. Greg was shitting on Wilder there, but obviously with Joshua now losing to Ruiz, things have been flipped on their head. Where do you see the landscape of the heavyweight division now in sort of pecking order?
Well, first off, Wilder's a classless twat. Let's get that right. I don't like him one bit. His win the other week was great. Props to him for that. I didn't expect that. I thought Brazil would give him a right good fight, but
his win piled the pressure on AJ as well, I think.
Yeah, it did definitely. But I don't like that guy one bit. I thought Fury made an absolute show of him in the build up to the fight, and then embarrassed him even worse during the fight. I really do believe Wilder is an absolute knucklehead, to put it lightly. I really think the guy is not at all intelligent. Because why he turned down that DAZN deal makes no sense at all. Andre Ward, who I don't like, I've slagged him off on here before, said it right when he said Wilder basically stepped over a $100 bill to pick up a $10 bill and thinks he's the cleverest guy in the room. Wilder's just an absolute idiot. And I'm not really a big fan of Fury either, but at least there seems to be a lot of... Fury comes across as a guy who really knows what he's doing type thing, and it's really calculated, and there's a...
Is there anybody you do like, Paul?
Wilder wanted 100 million for one fight. They were offering 120 for 3 fights. He didn't want tied in for 3 fights. He wanted a one fight deal.
Well, who's he to ask for 100 million for one fight? Who the fuck is he? He can't sell out his own living room.
He's top man now. He's knocking people out.
He was backing himself, I think, going forward, maybe.
Yeah.
Was he, Paul?
No, he didn't for 1 second believe that Joshua was going to lose to Ruiz, and that would make him look as good as he looks now. Come on, don't give the guy that much credit.
No, he wanted Joshua surely to remain unbeaten because now the value of the fight, any potential fight with him and Joshua is diminished.
He didn't want Joshua. If he did, why didn't he take the fight? Why is he fight? Why is he?
He's not ducking Joshua. Let's get that straight. I mean, Christ.
No, I'm not buying that for a second. I think he definitely tried to have that.
I don't buy that at all.
Ortiz was ducked by Joshua and Fury, so to speak, and then he steps up and fights him.
So, Paul, do you think that Wilder's pleased by the fact that Joshua lost to Ruiz?
I don't know what he's thinking. I think he's an idiot for not taking the fight when he did, because I'd pick him to win it based off that. But I don't think there's any. I don't support him at all. I think he's really shown his true colours. And I say true colours, I mean in the sense that he's not a very pleasant individual. I was behind him for a while. Like, he seems like he's a kind of a big heart on his sleeve type guy. Like, he's fighting for his daughter. He's come from the roads. He's just, he's not like Joshua. He's all real. But I really just think the hype's gone to that guy's head, and I can't wait to see him get beaten.
Well, it's funny you should mention that, Paul, because I mean it was a long time ago now, but I interviewed Wilder in 2008, just before he turned pro, and the actual title of it in the Boxing News was "Doing It for His Daughter." I found him a nice guy, very humble. I'm wondering whether this is an act, and they've told him to sort of come off with this type of shit talk to try and build things up a bit.
They have because sorry, mate, but Bunce and Mike Costello said the same thing. He says, because they were speaking to him before the Fury fight, and then I don't know if they were over in America for the Brazil fight, but they said deep down he's a really nice, humble guy, as you say. He's very approachable and stuff, but he's one of the guys when he's going into a fight, he has got to switch. Like, it's like he's got to morph into another character. It's like he's got to hate everybody around about him, basically make everything serious. He hates fucking everybody. He's just got to fucking hate life to get himself up for a fight, and he'll say and do anything probably.
Should come on here with us.
Oh, aye.
Well, he's not impressing me personally by doing that, and I don't really think he's impressing many people if his ticket sales or anything to go by. So I don't. Wilder, I'd pick him to beat Joshua based off that now, and I still think that fight happens at some point down the road. I mean, it's probably even further off now, but I think they will fight each other before the careers are over, and I think Joshua and Fury will fight each other as well. And the Fury Wilder fight, I wouldn't be shocked if that doesn't happen, if that's just something that they build up, and then what happens with Joshua happens to one of those guys, sadly. They leave it a bit too long, and then one of them loses, and then all the luster's gone.
Paul, right now, who wins, Joshua or Wilder?
Wilder.
Right. Yeah, we've always. Me and Rob, we believed even before. I'm not being like hindsight here, but we believed that Wilder would absolutely ice him.
I haven't. I've flip-flopped back and forward. Paul, final one to you just before we let you go, because we have somebody else on the line. Let's talk to me about the TV networks, because I watched it on DAZN. I was struggling to work out who was who, to be honest. But Barry Tompkins had Joshua in a commanding lead. He had him winning throughout. Wasn't that fussed on DAZN? I thought Sergio Mora was okay. What about Sky? I'm assuming you watched it on Sky. What were they up to?
I've watched the fight back a few times. I saw the stoppage live. I was actually asleep in bed, and my mate called me, and my mate had been out celebrating the Champions League, and I thought, I'm not fucking answering the phone. What do you want? Yeah, like, go away. He was ringing me, and I thought, oh, you know what? I'm going to answer the phone just to tell him to fuck off, basically. But he was actually at home, and he went, lads, get the TV on now. I went, why? But Joshua's been knocked down twice, and he's getting fucked up. And I thought, fuck off, and put the phone down. And then he called back again.
3 in the morning.
Yeah. Then he called me back again and said, no, lad, I'm being serious. Like, he's voted. So I booted up my computer quick and got the stream on, and I caught the last round, the 2 knockdowns. And to be honest, I've watched the fight back, going back to the original point, on Dailymotion, on Google. And I think Sky, to be honest, we're calling it pretty fair. I know they're up Joshua's ass. I mean, I think Paulie's was spot on, as he usually is. And I thought Adam Smith, I know he gets a lot of shit because of, you know, what he looks like and and the fact that he's the head of Sky Sports and things like that. But I thought he was kind of adding a really good sense of drama to the fight. He's far better than the shit they used to have on, like Halling and Watt and all that. Can you imagine those two commentating on that fight? How much it would ruin it? Something as glorious as that, and those two are talking about, like, they'd make it sound like it was a freak. I give Adam Smith his props, because Smith was at least making it feel like it was a really big moment in the sport.
Mike Costello in that third round was absolutely. I want to go back and listen to that fight, just listen to Mike Costello, but he was amazing in that third round, man. How he kept his shit together. Well, he tried. You could hear it in the voice. He was trying to control himself in that, but it was epic.
Yeah.
Well, the boys on Sky lost it, because I was thinking, right,
Adam Smith was fucking raging.
Oh man, I was watching it live, right, and then I had tweeted this rapper that was playing at the festival, because I know him. I sent him a direct message telling him, you know, because you know each other, so I was telling him he did well and whatever. So I was writing, and what I thought was into the group chat. I was like, "Get up, there's something in the air," and I was like, "Shit, fucking Ruiz knocked him down twice." But it turns out I had sent all the tweets to the guy. He didn't know what the fuck I was talking about, and I was like. Somebody ring Wellings and Andy. They're not going to miss this step to a concert debate.
Oh, well, I sacked it at 2:30. I was like, I'm going to bed, man.
I'm airplane mode.
Again, I'm not being hindsightful here, but I was sitting there like that, and I'm saying to myself, "Hi, mate. I don't know. You know." I said, fuck it. I went in my bed, and then wake up in the morning, seen the L, and then when I clicked on his name on BoxRec and it says TKO, well, I got out of bed without even the pillow or the fucking quilt moving. I was like, basically, I was like a fucking sheet right out underneath it, ran down the stairs. I was like, computer on. Oh, it was just sensational. Yesterday, I had a coat hanging in my mouth all day yesterday, by the way.
I was watching it in the bed on the headphones, and I woke the missus up at the time of the stoppage. Yeah, you're right.
Did you? Remember you saying that now.
Right, anything from you, Paul, before we let you go?
No, not. I'll just finish on what I said initially. Don't be shocked if in the next couple of years something really, really unsavoury happens with Joshua outside the ring, and it's just like this out of left field story that happens.
Is that a threat?
No, not at all. I mean, unsavoury as in Joshua's gonna do something to someone, because I really do go back to the initial point. I really think that there's something bubbling inside Joshua's head that I think is just going to explode one day, and it's not going to be very nice.
Like Tyson, basically.
Maybe, or I maybe Chris Benoit. We don't know. But...
Well, see, but Steve, sorry about this, mate, but we need to go way back in the archives. I'm thinking, probably back to maybe his third or fourth pro fight. Time when Alex was still in the pod and stuff like that, and we spoke. I'll never forget about it. It was a post-fight interview he was given, and I forget who he was fighting, but he said he wanted to like push the guy's nose into his head or something like that, something along the lines. Anyway, the mask slipped, and he said there and then, he said, "Look, this guy's a fraud." Basically, you know, his persona, the whole makeup of him, it's just fucking fake.
Well,
Tyson
that's
Fury said
something
it
Tyson
best.
come off with, isn't it? Do you remember Tyson said that about Bruce Seldon, didn't he?
But Tyson Fury said that. He said, "Look, he's a street kid for Watford. He's no Joe Lewis. He's not the guy you're going to fucking give a paper to with rules to fucking live by. Don't shag white women. Don't do this. Don't do that. Be polite to your peers. Do this. Do that. That's the way his career was managed. We need to see the real man here now.
Let's see the real man. Paul, good to have you on again. We'll
Cheers,
speak to you soon. All right,
mate. Thanks.
Cheers. Bye now. Bye. Okay, we're flying on. We shall be going very shortly onto the undercard and then moving on to other bits and pieces. Like I said, loads of Bellew of the Weeks. Also, Gennady Golovkin's fight next week. I have a few more questions as well. Before we do all of that, we have another guest on the call. Delighted to welcome a possible first-time caller, I think. Take Ames. How are you, sir?
Hello, I'm fine, thank you. How are you guys?
Very well indeed. Let me see if I've got a question for you. That would get things moving nicely, wouldn't it? Okay, so Lee at Num Tapestry is asking you, Mr. Ames, would it be silly if Anthony Joshua let Andy Ruiz go and fight Deontay Wilder and rebuilt and pushed to get a mandatory shot at Wilder? He can work on his craft and ultimately get the fight he really wanted. I think, says Lee, it's a smart move. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't think that's silly at all. I think that'd probably be a smart move because, I mean, after watching that fight last night, there'd have to be wholesale changes, or at least, changes to a large extent for if a rematch were to happen for Joshua to, win that fight. The ingredients were there for Ruiz to capitalize upon, and Joshua has to, go back to the drawing board and kind of mask those flaws. It's a Tyson Fury type of fighter who, sticks to a kind of strict boxing plan, who can kind of beat Ruiz, and Joshua just isn't capable of that, or at least not now. The jab was given to him probably pre-fight and during the fight by Robert McCracken to kind of stave off Ruiz, and it just wasn't adhered to at all. And I think if a rematch were to happen, that would kind of have to be the game plan. Make it boring, make it non-fussy, and get the win to get those titles back. But if you're not going to do that, then rip up that rematch clause, build yourself back up, and take the fights with Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder, get that money and get out of the game.
Tell me, Ames, because usually after somebody loses, they often look for scapegoats and who they're going to get rid of. A lot of people may be saying he'll get rid of Robert McCracken, whether he deserves to go or not. I don't know where he sits contractually with the likes of Eddie, DAZN, all these different entities. Do you think he maybe sack Eddie off, try and go over to America? We're going to see wholesale changes, or what do you reckon?
No, I mean, I don't think you can sack off Eddie at this point. I mean, Eddie's got him to where he is. Eddie's the PR, Eddie's the machine, Eddie's the one that gets in the fights, the one that he's able to, sell the fights with Povetkin and Parkers and Brazils. He definitely needs Eddie to kind of forward his career. Whether it's getting rid of Robert McCracken, I'm not sure. I don't think that's an issue. You can make that change, getting someone like Jonathan Banks and again do the Klitschko thing, but it's Joshua who needs to. Obviously, he's taken the responsibility, but it's the changes within Joshua as the fighter, as the boxer, that are going to tell as to whether he will get those belts back, or we'll see a retirement shortly. It's on him.
I'm very interested in the whole dynamic between Eddie, DAZN, Sky Sports. We had a message coming in saying it's going to be interesting with the DAZN push into the Mexican market. I can see them putting a rematch on, possibly in America, in LA or Vegas. Then that will piss off the Sky Sports bosses even more, as it will be another non-UK time pay-per-view with their golden goose. Where do you see this whole, like I said, this dynamic between all these different entities trying to get what they want, their piece of the Joshua pie is being pulled here, there and everywhere?
In terms of where the fight has to happen next?
Well, yeah, that too, but also the fact that you've got Eddie, you're trying to please DAZN with Sky. Where does the DAZN and Sky relationship? Obviously, Sky want him, you would imagine, in the UK at a decent time selling pay-per-views. John Skipper pulled rank and said, I want him over here. Eddie's getting stretched about. It's interesting the way all this is going to play out.
100%, yeah. I mean, just first of all, in terms of where the fight has to, what happens next, yeah, it has to be in England. Dylan White alluded on his video, it's easier to get some exemptions in England than it is in America. Well, if that's the case, then you put that fight in England and you get whatever advantage or exemption you need to give Joshua that edge. In terms of Joshua being pulled and pushed about by different kind of companies, yeah, I mean, he's the flagship fighter, I suppose, for England in terms of getting subscriptions to the zone when that eventually launches. When your fighter has just been knocked out by Ruiz, who was the ridiculous underdog, you've lost a lot of stock in Anthony Joshua. Conversely, obviously, always you'd probably say, well, now there's a few more eyes as well in terms of the casuals and wanting to see that rematch, and there's the opportunity to build from this defeat. There's a little thread and a line that I think has started throughout boxing, but it's now starting to creep back in with, I think, J-Rock. They've lost, these fighters have lost early in their career, and they can come back, and that's the thread that they need to weave to get the casuals back on board if Joshua's stock has plummeted. And again with Sky Sports, if you're putting this on box office, you're gonna have to put a lot of money into promoting AJ in this rematch. It will sell, but with those Wilder fights and Joshua fights, you're looking for those fights, but you're gonna have to build up Joshua back with a win against Ruiz to get some of these fans back on board.
Final couple of questions to you, Ames, and we do thank you for joining us here. Liam Jordan was mentioning about Barry Hearn saying that the Wilder fight needed time to marinate. Obviously, this was before Joshua Ruiz. It wouldn't happen for 3 years. They were publicly negotiating one of the biggest fights in boxing on Twitter. Now, Liam Jordan thinks that AJ is losing fans by the day. Where do you hold the likes of Barry responsible, Eddie, the way they tried to sort of disparage Shelley Finkel, and now, Wilder's maybe having the last laugh?
Yeah, it's just complacency. It's complacency because these fights, they're there to be negotiated, and there's a back and forth between, well, it's you, and it's me, it's Joshua, it's Wilder, it's the promoters. They don't want it, they won't take the money, and now the line was we have to sit down, get them to sit down, the deal will be done. When you don't make these fights, the potential for a banana peel to slip up upon is there, and it happened. It happened to, unfortunately, the British fighter, but these things happen. I genuinely thought a slip up or like a shock or upset would happen, but I thought it'd be the Brazil fight. But unfortunately, this happened to Anthony Joshua. And if you don't capitalize when you're fighting in your stables on the top, then you lose that opportunity, and you've got to go back to the pile. Fortunately, they've got this rematch clause, whether they exercise it or not. But I mean, if I were Wilder or Joshua, I'd be trying to get out of that rematch. Wilder or Fury, I'd be trying to get out of that rematch and throwing a lot of money at Ruiz and saying, well, if you don't get that rematch with Joshua, if that's not taken, I'd be willing to throw a lot of money at you to get that fight.
Yeah, that's a good point. I was thinking about that myself. And so finally, we are going to move on to the undercard now. Anything briefly, Ames, that took your fancy on the undercard?
Sure. I'll just say I was watching the DAZN stream. I just thought it's funny you guys were talking about the commentators a minute ago. Was it Sergio Mora who said Joshua is the ultimate finisher? Now watch this. And then
Ruiz dropped him. Yeah,
Ruiz dropped him. I love that because those moments happen, and you see the fighter finish the fight. But when it goes, just curse of the commentator. Absolutely hilarious. But yeah, onto the undercard. Delphine Persoon. I thought she got the victory against Katie Taylor. That was a really, really good fight. Especially to bring women's boxing to the eyes of the fans. The crowd were into it. I was into it. I thought Persoon did really well. I thought Katie Taylor, she did well, but I don't think she was able to box and just handle someone who'd come forward. Was obviously able to take the shots. But yeah, she's obviously the one with the eyes on her, and she got the nod. Josh Taylor, not his biggest fan. I thought again he probably Josh Kelly, sorry, my apologies.
Easy mistake.
I was waiting to say.
Not his biggest fan. I thought he'd put in the performance, but it just showed he doesn't have the power. Or if you're gonna do what you do as Josh Kelly, you have to carry some power, sort of like Hamed, but you just didn't carry that power. So I think he's gonna have to work on himself a little bit. Rematch, I'd like to see that. Callum Smith, obviously, against Hassan Ndam, you guys were saying he's there to get knocked down. He was there to get knocked down, and boy, did he a few times. Glad they stopped the fight when it did happen, but yes. Callum Smith did look brilliant.
Yes, completely agree. Ames, brilliant stuff. Thanks for coming on. Good to hear from you, sir. You're welcome back anytime.
No worries. Thank you, guys.
All the best. Cheerio. Bye.
Bye.
Great stuff there. Take Ames jumping on for the first time. Spoke very well. Could string a sentence together. Always a bonus. Brian King nominated during the week Jaime Rivera. Mr. Rivera said, everyone is sleeping on Ruiz. Look at his resume. Brian said, Bellew of the week. I went back to Brian afterwards and says, looks like you're going to have to take it. I'll gladly take it, says Brian. No doubt he would.
Hey, fucking, come on. After what I said last week, I should be up for it as well, but I'll fucking take it or not.
You'll take it on his behalf, Andy.
I'll take it. I had a fucking sombrero on doing a fucking Mexican hat dance in the kitchen.
Hey, it would have been amazing actually to hear that Mexican commentary, right, when he turns the tables, right, and drops Joshua for the first time, and all we get is Andre, arriba, arriba.
Man, it was watching it live was sensational. It was one of them moments where you're just like,
I know, mate.
Fucking knew, I fucking knew it. I knew it.
Mate, yeah, I was so angry. I didn't stay up for it. I mean, Steve doesn't stay up for many live fights during the hours now and stuff like that. But I was like, I said last week I wasn't going to stay up for it, and I almost did, and I'm fucking fuming that I didn't. But still, it was a nice wee present to wake up to.
S in the chat, just to address your comments. I know that you said that AJ didn't quit, not having that. He was exhausted, leaning on the ropes. He said he was ready to box. He said he was ready to box. S, he did, but his body language said he wasn't ready to box. You can't look like that. The referee, put your hands up, a gum shield, and all that. The referee gave him enough chances, I thought, and he showed with his body language that he didn't want to carry on. I don't blame the referee at all for calling it off.
Steve, you told me you wanted to sleep with Jennifer Aniston.
Yeah.
Okay. I know. It doesn't mean it's good. It doesn't mean you're going to date, is it?
I'm wondering where you're going with that. I'll take Carl Vorderman like I'm not fussy.
Unless she's on the laminated list, you know what I mean?
Aye.
Right, let's move on to the undercard then, shall we? First of all, to you, Dave. Ames just mentioned our friend Hassan and Dam. Michael Gearty got in touch and he said, you boys called it on the pod and Dam just loves getting dropped. He went down, he kept getting back up again. I know that he's not a super middleweight, Dave, but visually, on the biggest stage, Callum Smith won the evening probably because even though it's a diminished version of Ndam, too high in weight, Callum Smith scored a highlight reel knockout and people will be talking about him stateside, Dave. No doubt. Everyone's been talking about him in your neighbourhood.
This shit pissed me off. As our old friend Emmanuel Stewart would have said, the fight went exactly the way I expected it to go. And it was basically to a T what we predicted last week. Maybe not the exact numbers for CompuDrop, but it was basically what we said was going to happen. And of course it was, because he's got a past his best chinny middleweight going up to 168. Like
fighting a bona fide light heavyweight too.
It was a showcase. It was pointless. I was even annoyed that he celebrated the win. Don't even talk to me about this crap. It was stupid. I don't. He said after the fight, "Oh, onwards and upwards. I would have stayed active this year. Want to fought the best fighters out there." Well, let's see it then, because you just wait. He may as well have just gotten in the middle of the ring and took a shit for all of the value that does to his career.
Dave agrees with me then, Rob. What do you think? Callum Smith won the evening.
I was making a cuppa and it was like fucking I took my eye off it for a minute and I put it back on. It was like Hassan and Dam already been dropped twice. I was like, for fuck's sake. Yeah, it was coming up from 160 as well. He didn't have a shot like did he. Callum Smith's a big 168 pounder, like, and he can punch a bit. So we rightly predicted that one was going to end, but that was about it for us last week in terms of predictions. Like.
Yep, quite right, Rob. Sorry, I was flagging on the on mute button. Same as you, Andy. Like I said, you can't take it away from Smith. I thought it was an excellent finish. He did exactly what he needed to do, and people in the arena, I suppose, would have been talking about it.
Well, I suppose. I think at the end of the day, I suppose if people would be talking and remembering about Anthony Yard icing that guy on undercard of Canelo Smith, remember in that fucking Texas stadium?
Aye, but that was way down the pecking order, wasn't it? That was at the beginning.
Yeah, I know, but come on, mate. I mean, it was. I agree with Dave in that. I mean, this fight came out of the blue for me. I know, but I've not been busy in that over the last month and stuff. But for me, this fight just came right out of the blue. It was like a shock of bolt. And we're hearing stories, Smith, what's he going to do with his career? I mean, seriously, what is the plan? I don't want to sound like I'm hating, maybe I am, but Ndam, I've watched a fair bit of Ndam. I'm going back, at least 8 years with him. And he wasn't always getting dropped. Only when he started going up in class and that, when he was meeting like Lemieux or whatever. But to see him getting iced like that, it was just a shame to see. I mean, the guy's been value in the past. That he's always fought his guts out. He's also delivered one of the best knockouts ever in the last 5 years with that Alfonso Blanco fucking faceplant.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Remember that? But he's been a good servant to the sport, and I just think seeing good like that was bad. I mean, all it was a keep busy fight for Smith. Think about it, Callum Smith is supposed to be, the man at super middleweight, and he's fighting a middleweight, right? Now, that tells me that they don't really want to take a risk with him. That they're saving the title, or they don't want to move up in weight. I don't know. It's just like he's coming off that Groves win. People, and used to come and are going to end up saying, "Oh, that was a diminished Groves. He had one, bad shoulder and all that sort of stuff." And Groves admitted himself that he had problems trying to get back for it. Okay, that's hindsight. But it just feels like his career's he's done nothing really. It sounds bad because he's got belts and he's recognised as one of the top fighters, I suppose, in the division. But
he's made a load of money on the absolute pile
of money. There's rumours that he might retire, but okay, it's not his fault who he had to fight in the tournament. I'd love to have seen the Bremer fight, but obviously Holskin had to step in and stuff like that. But then you go down his list before he got to kind of semi-world level, like Scotland and that. But the Massapati, Blackledge, Reynoso, Rocky Fielding, it just feels like it's a bit of smoke and mirrors, and that sounds bad. But again, maybe it's testament to the point that it's to where the 168 division is at this point. Actually, it's just. Nah, it's just not for me.
Danny Young was in touch about the undercard. He said a draw for Josh Kelly should have been a loss for Katie Taylor, and Joshua down and out. Hearn, Sky, DAZN are all fucked. Might be worth asking the guys tonight what impact this night will have on all of those three. Dave, anything else on the undercard that excited you regarding Katie Taylor against Delphine Persoon? I didn't actually score the fight, but my impression was that Persoon won. Whenever they first came out, I thought Persoon threw this left hook like I've never seen before, man. I thought, oh my God, she's terrible. This is going to be a big class gap. But she just kept going and going and going, just like the commentary said she would. And I did think she'd probably done enough.
She was a beast. I didn't score that fight because it's too hard. Like, it's the 2-minute rounds. It all goes by so fast, and I can't even remember which round is which. But yeah, I didn't score. I just kind of enjoyed it. Because it was the most enjoyable women's boxing match I've ever seen. What's her name? Persoon, whatever. It reminded me of Anne Sophie Mathis when she beat Holly Holm the first time. Just like a wild woman. Like, she's just there to destroy. You don't see many women like that in the world. Good for her.
You want to go to Wolverhampton on a Saturday night, Dave?
Hey, that's my kind of woman. It sounds like a good vacation spot.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So yeah, she probably deserved to lose, judging by just not scoring it, but like judging by how the fight generally seemed to go. I know Josh Kelly definitely deserved to lose. I had that 87-83. Might seem wide, but I did it round by round, had my scorecard. I just thought
87-83?
87-83 for Robinson. It
was a 9-rounder.
It was a 10-rounder.
Yeah. 97-93.
Oh, yeah. Wait, did I say 80? Okay. Yeah, 97-93. 7 rounds, 2-3 for Robinson, Ray Robinson, the new Ray Robinson. It reminded me a lot, actually, of the fight between Lomachenko and Orlando Salido, in that the fighter with, I'd say, probably more talent. This is the only time I'm sure Josh Kelly's going to be.
I'm going to say in that there were 2 men fighting against each other.
Here we go. I'm going to love this game.
No, I'm going to tell you. I don't like Josh Kelly. He's a twat. He's a knobhead. He's a twonk.
He's a fucking mug.
His style is
you fucking mug.
It's really irritating. But I just in the fact that I think the guy with more talent was the guy who was getting outworked and just didn't really know what to do. He's a shit counterpuncher, honestly. He had a lot of good moments of defense with head movement. He made Robinson miss pretty embarrassingly at times. Robinson kept throwing. He kept up the work rate. it to the body and the head, and that's what won him the rounds. Josh Kelly barely fought back. In the 9th round, he made a good stand and actually fought. And if he kept that going to the 10th, it would have been a close fight, respectable enough. For me, he didn't, though. I think he lost the 10th. I think Ray Robinson outworked him again in the 10th. And I just don't think he's I don't think he's got maybe the fighter's instinct in him. People have been comparing him to Roy Jones.
Yeah, but the thing was, when Roy Jones was doing that to people, we said this before, against the likes of Glenn
icing them.
Kelly, he had about 10 years of credit in the bank.
He was icing them
He
as well.
was the real deal. He was the best fighter in the world. If you can't showboat then, it's fighters who are doing all that when they haven't, established
Beat James
themselves.
Toney at middleweight by that point as
Yeah,
well.
yeah, and Hopkins and everybody.
And he was throwing back big shots, too. Big shots that hurt his opponents. Josh Kelly's throwing back like once every couple rounds. I mean, I was really not impressed at all by his offense. He's no Floyd Mayweather with his sharp counters. Now, he was the sharper puncher, but he still landed left.
I thought it was close, Dave. I thought a draw was about right. I don't think Robinson won it by 4 points, to be honest, now. But, who am I?
Interesting point. Just wanted to flag up on that fight, actually, or the last couple of fights with him, being 10 rounders. Because I'm telling you, if that fight goes 12 rounds, he's picking up that L.
Yeah, well, possibly. Flying over Andy briefly again, the chat's going to love me for this. Back to Taylor again, judged on Trella Senior, 95-95, perched very much on the fence.
Yeah, but where is Donnie, actually?
He's disappeared.
Bastard. I think I wanted to ask that question, actually.
One thing I did like about Taylor, though, she's not afraid to go dirty, is she? I like the way she's sort of throwing the head in, a few nefarious tricks up the sleeve.
Well, the Belgian wasn't hanging back either, was she? She was fucking piling in as well. It was like two cats going at it, man. Just like, on you go, baby. No, it was... I've got to say, it was a really... I really enjoyed that fight, actually. I thought... Draws fair. I don't know. It was... I kind of felt that Persoon did enough to win it. Just enough to shade it. A draw, I'm no against, and I'm not going to hate on Taylor winning it. It's just a damn close fucking fight, man. It's just what it is. I think I tweeted it today actually when she posted up her picture with her mum and that. I said, I think I wasn't derogatory. I said, I think you do that last a rematch. I think it's only fair. If she's not going to rematch that last, then you got to think she's going to want. Well, you want to see her fight Cameron, who I think is another tough fight for her.
Do you think, Andy, a lot of people thought that Persoon was hard done to because she did better than people expected?
Yeah, there's that element to it.
I know she's a long reigning world champion, but I didn't think she was on Taylor's level from what I'd seen of her.
Well, I've not seen any. Well, I don't recall seeing anything. To be honest, I can only go what my eyes saw on the night, and if it's her rising to the occasion like Andy Ruiz did, and that, then farewell. And I think she deserves. If she's not going to get a rematch, then she deserves another opportunity of sorts, maybe on a bigger stage or whatever, and that, because she did more than enough to kind of definitely get a shout at winning that fight. And to be honest as well, it would have been life changing for her as well to kind of bringing all the belts and stuff like that. But it's history in the making as well, But fair play to Taylor, I suppose. But
yep,
I'm just trying to think that women's boxing will now have 3 lineal champs. That'll be Taylor, Brackus and Shields.
Yeah.
I need to check on Shields' record. And I don't know if the birds that she beat that.
Well, there was another girl at ringside there interviewing. I think she might have beaten McCaskill last week. She was, I don't think she was lineal, but she was carrying around a WBC belt. I'm a big fan of fighters who aren't actually fighting, carrying belts around with them. I remember a guy in Las Vegas back in the day, Andy. Demond Brock was going around the MGM Grand carrying his WBO Intercontinental title over his shoulder, and why not?
I remember, I forget who it was, and it was a Scottish fighter actually proudly carrying about his BBC Scottish area title. I forget. It wasn't Slowy. It wasn't John Slowy. I forget who it was. But he was something about the leisure centre and that. Proudly on his shoulder and that. Fair fucks to him, like.
Yeah, exactly. Rob, on a Taylor Persoon note, we talked about AJ not looking with it. I was actually slightly concerned for Katie Taylor towards the end in the corner. I thought she looked like she was slightly concussed or something. Looked, the strange look on her face. Maybe it was just me.
Yeah, maybe as well as that, she's used to fighting a certain level of opposition, and they kind of go away after a while, or she outclasses them. And she's just had she's had a couple of scrappish moments in her pro career, but she had to put up to her the other night. So maybe it was a bit of that, but. She's coming to the end though as well. Like, you know what I mean? You look at the length of her amateur career, 2 Olympic campaigns, 1 gold medal, 1 disputed a lot. I thought she lost pretty soundly the second time. She's been a pro now. She's unified. There's not really much left for her to do, and I think the kind of the clock is ticking on Katie Taylor. I think I think she's been a great servant to the sport and all that, but I think time is running out for her.
Time's running out, says Rob. I like
she's getting old though, eh? She must be what age is she now?
Oh, she about, I don't know, I have no idea, to be honest with you. 30 odd, about 30 would she be? She played football as well for Ireland, so she is quite athletically talented.
Just pulled it up there. She's 33 in July.
Oh, there you go, as old as
fair age. She's got a lot of mileage in the cloak with the amateur fight, she said.
Mm-hmm.
Big time.
Yeah, Persoon was sponsored by New Holland Agriculture. I like a good tractor sponsor. Maybe we could get them to sponsor the pod. Anyway, Rob, on to Josh Kelly against Smooth Ray Robinson. Kelly ain't as smooth as my man Joey DeVecco. I know DeVecco was sparring with AJ, apparently. I like him. He's smooth as silk.
Don't know much about him, but
get on it, Rob.
Another feeling of vindication because we told you about Josh Kelly, and it's a disservice. You can't be comparing fellas to Roy Jones. Roy Jones is a once in a lifetime fighter, and that was a unique style that he developed. What you see with Josh Kelly is a carbon copy attempt of the Roy Jones style. All that hanging onto the ropes in the corner. He's taking shots. You know what I mean? Ray Robinson is there, and he wasn't anything special. You know what I mean? Just
in the corner, he's taking headshots in the corner and that. He's like,
taking headshots in the corner, inviting him in, and the guy's landing. That's not impressive. You know what I mean? It's not impressive at all. And it shows a lack of character because you're showboating when because you to kind of compensate. All right, he can move around the ring, he can get about, but a lot of that shit is mind games. And it doesn't work when you go up the top levels. And I don't care what ability they say he has. He's not going to go all the way. I don't give a shit when anyone says he's not going all the way, not unless he makes some major adjustments.
I'm back. I'm 100% with you, mate. I'm with you.
Yep, unless he makes some major. He's too easy to hit, way too easy to hit, and I don't think he has it in him to tough it out. I really don't. I think you could be right as well, Andy. Over the 12 rounds, I think there could be big time problems with him blowing. So I don't see it. Whatever they're seeing that guy, I don't see it.
And what about Ray Robinson? Is he the new Badu Jack, Rob? Just doing enough to get a draw all the time?
He wasn't anything special, was he? He gave a good account of himself. He came to fight. He wasn't there for the games. He was going to take advantage of all the time wasted when Kelly's not punching, he was punching. So he should have won. He should have come away with the win for me, maybe by a round. But Kelly can consider himself lucky to get the draw there. Unless he makes some big adjustments, like I said, I don't see him doing it at the top level. No way.
No way, Jose, says Rob. Other action from the weekend. We're not going to talk about too much of this, just to mention it though. Michal Sislak is 19-0 now. He beat old Duradola. That's a good win for him, actually. He got the vacant Republic of Poland Intercontinental Cruiserweight title, so it could be one to watch out. I think it was a IBF eliminator as well, actually. Kurt Garvey, Dex Spellman. Dex Spellman won that. I had that put aside for Aussie, but he's not able to join us tonight, unfortunately. Also, Jay Harris won the vacant EBU flyweight title, beating Angel Moreno. Craig Evans beat Stephen Ormond in their rematch. Again, that was for Aussie. No Aussie this week, no party. Anything else on the... Oh, yeah, we didn't really speak about Coyle, did we? Anyone want to say anything briefly about Tommy Coyle against Chris Algieri? Coyle probably called it a day now, wasn't he, Under?
He got battered. I was absolutely shocked at the size difference, actually.
He hurt him in the second round, didn't he?
He hurt him badly with a body shot, and he really tried to gut it out, but he just couldn't. He wanted to go on and stuff like that, but I think it was a right call, and he was just going to get badly hurt on that. But I see Pedro... or Predrag Radosevich got ice, Steve, in Montenegro.
Oh, no, did he? Is he all right?
Ice. Steve was talking about Coyle. Coyle hurt Algieri.
Coyle hurt Algieri, and then Algieri hurt him with a body shot afterwards, but Coyle hurt him with a headshot. I think that's what I meant. Yeah.
What else did I see?
What about Alexander getting knocked out by Red Catch?
He got tossed about like an empty rag, didn't he? He was doing 3 times, and then he got... I think it's... Am I right, Dave? It's the California rules. If you're doing 3 times, the fight gets called off.
I honestly don't know if that is a California rule or not. It was the right time to stop it for sure. Anyway, I mean, the guy had nothing left. That first knockdown, I'm even surprised he got up from that. It was a really nice uppercut. and he dropped like a sack of shit, as you say, and he was just face down. And yeah, usually you see that kind of knockdown in a fight, but he did get up, got dropped very quickly twice after. So it's a TKO. I mean, no matter what the rules are, that you're going to stop it there.
Oasis one in the chat. Tommy is not on the panel. Tommy is not on the panel. You can keep writing it and writing it and writing it, and he ain't coming. What else have we got? Let's have a look. This is great, isn't it? Yeah, Centeno. I didn't see Centeno against William Monroe. We'll move that to one side. Let's see what other questions we've got here before we move on to Bellew of the Week, Gennady Golovkin, all that type of stuff. We had a message come in. Oh, this is a good one for you, Rob. I think you'll enjoy a bit of this one from Jay King. He said, does Kell Brook go to Saudi and continue his unhealthy obsession of stalking Amir Khan, knowing there's a good chance that he might get stoned to death?
Yeah, no, he should, and he should wear the headgear and all that, babby, and go over there and try and give him the chocolate brownies in the Middle East.
That'll go down well, I'm sure. What's Amir up to? What's he doing?
He's fighting some exhibition fight, isn't he? Where's he fighting? In Saudi Arabia or someplace? I don't know.
I think so.
Saudi, aye. But is that a boxing match?
Yeah, boxing match. Yeah. There was rumors that it was going to be an MMA fight or something, like a 10-chin job. But it's a boxer, I believe, who's fighting. I don't know. I bet Ozzy would know more if he was on, but I haven't a clue. Ben will know the score, but I don't know what the crack is.
Keep an eye out later on for Bellew of the Week when we reveal a prestigious title that has been laid on the line by the WBC for this very fight. So that's something
excellent.
Steve, did you get my message about that belt I mentioned to you last week about the CIS Slovenian Bureau?
Yeah, what happened? We don't know the results.
We don't know the results. Still pending, mate. I'm disappointed. I had hoped to bring that breaking news to the world, but
hoping to bring the Soviet Union back, Rob.
They had good tracksuits anyway. Give them that.
It did. CCCP. Right, moving on to next week then. Anybody want to comment on Oscar Valdez defending his WBO featherweight title against unbeaten, unheralded, unknown in my house anyway, Jason Sanchez? There's talk about Valdez maybe moving up after this one. He seems to fight, doesn't he, Valdez? And that's about it.
Aye, he's not fighting anybody though. To be honest, I've never seen him, so.
No real interest, Andy. No.
Okay. I'm interested to see Valdez back. I mean, I know he's still. This will be second. Was it his second fight this year? So obviously he's trying to get active, not just trying to get back in the groove after the jaw break and stuff. So, I mean, this guy's undefeated, but that doesn't mean nothing nowadays. It's probably padded. Saying that, fuck. After last week and that, are we even allowed to be given an opinion on any fighters nowadays and stuff like that? This guy might just turn on the fucking ice, Valdez, in like 4 rounds, and we're like, what the fuck happened? What's happening here? What's happening? Nah, it's you would think Valdez has got this, probably like a 9-10 round stoppage or something. Probably just slightly, maybe the opponent's maybe slightly overmatched at this point, I think. And plus,
he's 14-0, Sanchez, isn't he? So 7 knockouts. So he hasn't really fought anybody, Andy, on the record. So there you go.
Decent banger as well, and that, isn't he?
Classic WBO affair. Yeah.
Aye.
Rob, moving on, Friday night. I know you'll be all over this one. Zab Judah, the comeback we were all waiting for, in against Cletus Seldin. I seem to remember him getting thoroughly outboxed by Yves Ulysse Jr. What about Judah against Seldin, Rob?
I'm starting to think you're doing this to me on purpose after Red Catch and David Alexander last week. Zab Judah. What age is Zab now?
He must be 40 now.
Yeah, I think he's about 39 or so, yeah.
I mean, I hope he doesn't need the money because he had to go a few paydays, didn't he? But I think Zab in his early days was allegedly a wild guy, so maybe he's paying for that now financially. So I don't know what the crack is, but I've about as much interest in that fight, dude. I couldn't give a flying fuck who wins that fight.
The last time I saw Zab Judah was when it was a video appeared him online, drunk driving, right? And the victim opens up his door and asks him for his registration and his insurance and stuff. I don't know how the Yanks do it, right? So he's like, you see him fucking delving into his pocket, like just absolutely fucked out his mind, and he's given a fake name. So people know who he is, and that he's like, my name's like John Smith or whatever. And that he's like,
I'm Jab Zuda.
I'm just gonna say,
fucking bum.
Oh man, I couldn't care less who wins that fight. If whoever wins it, I guarantee I'm not going to watch their next fight either. So that's as much as
according to Jason Chukwu, Rob, Zab is now 42.
And he
Just what he needs, being punched in the head. Eh?
Yeah, well, you know, this could be the start of the big comeback. Let's go, champ. Brooklyn.
If I end up fighting Paul Spadafore or something like that, you know.
Oh God, no, not him. He's probably in a
Paul
crack alley.
hasn't had a good performance since the one he. I'm not even going to finish that one. Let's move on.
Wasted talent who used to give Floyd all the trouble he could handle in sparring. If
and
really.
the missus also he can handle.
Exactly.
Tragic tale of wasted youth. Eh?
Yeah, exactly.
Imagine he's sitting there looking at Floyd like I should be the king of the wife beaters. Like I deserve this money. I beat that guy's sparring.
Aye, give me that crack pipe.
Yeah, Spadafore was a very good fighter, but it just didn't quite happen for him.
Spadafore fought my good friend Oisin Fagan, and Oisin beat him around the place. I didn't get the decision, and I saw it. I used to have a DVD copy of it with no commentary, and they're fighting in the Foxwoods or something. And it was Spadafore's comeback fight, and Oisin gave him all he could handle, and didn't get the rub of the green as the way things pan out.
Well, Oisin always got hosed. He got hosed against Verkin Kimber as well, didn't they?
Exactly.
Right, Dave, let's move on. Up in class, up in levels, up to middleweight. Gennady Golovkin is going in against the mighty Steve Rolls, 19-0. Haven't watched Rolls yet. We'll no doubt watch a bit of YouTube footage of him this week. What does Golovkin need to do here, Dave? Because the Zone need a decent performance. They need to get back on track for Golovkin Canelo to try and erase the bad memories of AJ.
I'm getting this vibe from Steve Rolls. What was that guy that Oscar De La Hoya fought before he fought Floyd or whatever? Steve something else.
Steve Forbes.
Steve Forbes, yeah.
Steve Forbes was a good fighter in the day, though.
Yeah, but he wasn't expected to give Oscar the night he gave him that night. Like,
yeah, that's true.
I thought Forbes lost handedly.
Yeah, he lost every round, didn't he? Which fight are you thinking of? Are you thinking of Felix Sturm, aren't you? Before Hopkins, no?
Yeah, sorry. There was a fight right before Pacquiao where Oscar looked washed. Sorry, go ahead.
I'm getting the same feeling. This is going to be one of those Steves. But I'm not going to watch any footage this week of Steve Rolls, if even any exists. I don't think it. This is a very strange matchmaking. Maybe they just want to give him a highlight reel KO. Maybe there's talk in his team of him being past it as well. He did look like he progressively has lost steps in his last several fights, even though I still had him beating Canelo twice, even the second time. I thought he landed more punches and I thought he outboxed him and actually got stronger as the fight went on. But that's for another argument. This is really not interesting to me at all. I guess I'll watch it. If I hear anything interesting about it, I'll watch the highlights and the finish, which I assume is going to be a Golovkin knockout in 4 rounds.
Well, there you go. A few people in the chat saying Rolls is no pushover. Rob, I was having to think about Golovkin's training situation during the week, and a lot of people were a bit underwhelmed by the introduction of Jonathan Banks. But what I was thinking was, Golovkin, he's 36, 37. You're not going to have to reinvent the wheel, teach an old dog new tricks and all those cliches. All you need is somebody to keep him ticking over. Maybe Klitschko or Loeffler, if Loeffler's even involved, I don't know, has probably said to him, look, Jonathan Banks is a good guy. Maybe he has a nice laid-back vibe about him. He's good on the pads. He's not going to he's not going to change Golovkin into a completely different fighter now. He's just there to tick him over, I think.
I think he'd probably just work on certain shots. That's what one of Banks' specialties is. Developing shots. You saw in the Dillian White fight against AJ that they'd worked on the catch and shoot, and that was the same Kronk catch and shoot that Klitschko caught AJ with in their fight. So Banks kind of works on shots and things like that, and like you said, nice laid back guy. So I wouldn't say they're going to change too much. The danger for the Zone is if there's something in the air keeps lingering, they want to keep Golovkin away from Drake.
Drake hanging around.
Because if Steve rolls over Triple G, man, the Zone's down to Swanee, because they need that Canelo Triple G 3 to get anything back. Because AJ's done in the States now. I don't think the Yanks are going to be clamoring to see AJ anytime soon. They were heavy mocking him on social media.
He didn't want to go to America anyway, did he?
No, but he was forced into it. We get into that in Value of the Week. The timeline of this shit, it's absolutely comical. It's the stuff of an epic movie. But in terms of Golovkin, if he loses, there's owner up shit creek. So I'd be thinking he's stopped this guy. I went looking for footage of Rolls after the fight was announced and saw there's 1 or 2 clips online there. I wasn't that impressed with him, so he hasn't fought anybody either. So you'd expect, unless Gennady has completely slipped, and I do think he has been showing major signs of aggression since the Jacobs fight. I just think the killer aura is not there about him anymore. But saying that, he should have enough to beat Steve Rolls.
Yeah, providing he gets past him, Andy. Moving on, hopefully, to the third fight against Canelo. Danny Jacobs was on the DAZN broadcast on Saturday night talking about moving up to 168. He sounded a little bit punch-drunk, Jacobs. He could barely sort of work out what was going on, but maybe he was having a good time. Anyway, he's going off.
David Hay was having a good time on Saturday night, by the way. I'm
Was he?
convinced. Oh, he was on the chop, that stuff.
Oh, was he?
Oh, I'm sure it was.
You want to see him? He gets asked about him. I think Paulie Malignaggi is with him, and he gets asked about the upset, and he's brilliant. I gotta send it to you. I can't even.
Oh, please, mate. Is it definitely on the chop, eh?
Dude, he's on something anyway. Put it that way. He's had a few drinks anyway, at least.
Sorry, Steve.
No, you're okay. I was just saying Golovkin hopefully moving on towards the Canelo fight before he gets too old.
I suppose it's going to happen, innit? I'll take it, but this guy Rolls. I know he was decent amateur. It might cause a wee bit of problem that, but he's never mixed it at this level and that. So you would think Golovkin, you know. I'm not going to make a pick. He'll probably get beat or something. Fuck's sake!
It would be funny, wouldn't it?
Oh my! No, won't it? I will just be just to see Cook in the interview. You call him Skipper again on his knees. What the fuck?
That was strange, by the way. Sorry, I didn't look. Did you ever see AJ get down and do a Muslim prayer in the ring before?
No.
Oh, did he really? No, I didn't see that.
He got down on his knees and prayed after the officially announced Ruiz as the winner. So I think he was heavily concussed. He's never done something like that in the ring before. Like,
shame he didn't go like Bellew, wasn't it, after the Usyk fight and start talking complete shit.
I thought that was pretty similar though.
He's going to come out. He's going to come out like Ali and get converted. And he'll be
I think he will, and then maybe never box again. I don't know, man. Something weird, yeah.
He'll be like Josh Mini X or something like that for a wee bit. And then he'll get this. Then he'll get his full title or something like that.
I thought he already converted, wasn't he, in a mosque with one of those hats?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, I guess not. It's Ramadan. He wouldn't be fighting.
Yeah, it was very strange. Well, maybe it wasn't, but he definitely got down on his knees and kind of did a prayer motion to the ground, like he was praying to the east or something. It looked, I don't know, but yeah, obviously the guy's heavy concussed, which is a pity.
I thought the Muslims stood with their head bowed, like the hands out and stuff like that, facing Mecca.
I haven't a clue, dude. But look, it seems strange. It's strange behaviour post fight, anyway.
But it's just a bit like Bellew, I suppose. Concussed the fuck, and you're not acting normally. I mean, remember Bellew's like Alexander.
yeah.
Alexander.
Like something out of Gladiator.
AJ, for my money, needs to get back in the ring and fight more often. I think he's taking too much time off and he's flying about in these fancy jets on yachts. I mean, he's made his money, but he needs to decide.
The chimpanzee from
yeah,
the
exactly.
Is inconsolable.
Yeah. He's been hanging about, you know.
Oh man, he was so upset he crashed the golf cart.
He's going fucking for a riot.
Fox B in the chat says he prayed 4 times mid-fight on his knees.
Oh, she's a Catholic then.
Good one. Anyway, Andy,
yes.
Israel Madrimov, 2 wins, 2 knockouts. We're high on this train on the undercard of Golovkin.
Yeah, the Uzbeks are back in town. Good to see him. Obviously, the guy he's fighting in that, it's Gonzalez. He's been in with a number of like kind of middleweight prospects and stuff. Like he's been with like Falcao, Galaza, Kana Islam. Steve will remember him. Charlo's fought him. Erickson Lubin, Gausha now. So he's just clearly a step up fighter sorts now, obviously, because this guy obviously some sort of gatekeeper. So I would say maybe an early stoppage here would be a signature statement here for this guy, because as you say, 2-0 coming in, 2 knockouts. I really like the look of this guy, but we just need to see how it develops. But be interesting to see if he can get this guy out here, because I don't think he's been stopped much, has he? This Gonzalez guy.
No, he's tough, he's durable, and I like the way that the likes of Madrimov, they're not messing about, they're just throwing him straight in there.
Yeah, so sink or swim. He's only like mid-20s now, but that's what you want to see. If he's got it, if he loses, then obviously they might be stepping back a couple of levels and let him rebuild that. But that's what you want to see. I mean, he's had his experience, I suppose, but as you say, this guy's tough and he's not been stopped much as well. So I think a statement would definitely be a stoppage win here.
Certainly would be. Let's move on to Belly of the Week. Just to remind everybody, this is episode 325 of the Boxing Style Nuthouse podcast. We're fairly flying through them a day late, but we got there in the end. Rob's still with us, so's Dave, and so's Andy. Shout out to everybody in the chat. I don't know if I've given you a lot of shout out, but Fox B's there. Zayit, Take That Tiger. Chris Mason, Darts Legend. Shout out to him. Dale Nichols. Sorry, Dale. Dale has a YouTube channel as well, so go out and find that. He lays it all bare. I don't know if he's done a video about Anthony Joshua yet, but he does. He's a mate of Smidows, you see, who was on the pod earlier. So he'll no doubt be going in on Joshua at some point on his YouTube channel. Dale Nichols, go and check him out.
Well, if he's a mate of Smidows, it's no surprise he lays it all bare.
Ooh, there you go. Controversy from the hater. Getting stuck in. Donnie's disappeared as well. No sign of Tommy. People are constantly saying, where's Tommy? Where's Tommy? Well, that's a good question. I'd love to know that myself. Tommy, if you're out there, please call in. Samaritans type appeal for you, Tommy. Call in.
Tommy's in rehab now, man. What the fuck?
Yeah. If Tommy doesn't come back in a coffin, then it's been a bad trip, Andy.
As long as you're flying back first class, not even really bother, you know.
Right, let's get on with it. If there are any Belly of the Week nominations in the chat, you might remind me of them. I've had so many in, I've probably missed a few.
Oh my fuck, man. Steve, I want to hear at least an hour's worth of bellies. Come on.
Yeah.
We promised 4 hours. We're only at 2.5 now, so we've got another 2.5, another hour and a half to go. So.
Well, this might stretch things out a little bit further, as they say, Andy. Jason Chuckweed was talking about Michael Hunter earlier, and I managed to catch up this week with Michael Hunter's most recent fight against Fabio Maldonado. Now, how on earth this big fat waste of space got a license is beyond me. That Maldonado is no boxer, and Hunter just battered him. It was embarrassing. Have you seen it, Andy?
I think I did. It was like, was it 1 round or 2 rounds or something?
Horrific.
That guy's
the standard of him, like, my God.
That guy's actually, I'm pretty certain he's some sort of ex-MMA, UFC fighter and that. And
yeah, he is. I've seen him in MMA, in the MMA world. He has no defense.
Well, he's iced in 2 rounds.
That's the Nick on Fauntleroy, though, because he said in the build-up he's a bad motherfucker. The cheek of him, like.
Of course he is. Maybe in the cage.
Dennis Simpson in the chat says Maldonado went the distance with Rivas. Really? Who's fighting Dillian White?
Yeah, that's true.
But who won? Who won the fight though?
Well, Rivas is undefeated, isn't he? So he must have won.
Wait a minute. I've just pulled this up. People need to hear this. Maldonado was a late replacement for Ebenezer Tete. Tete was unable to obtain a visa to fight in Canada. Maldonado was also knocked down in the 5th round.
There you go.
Easy Tete.
He's Ebenezer Tete. You're the shaman, Rob. Shout out, man. What have happened to them?
No, man.
That Alexander Teslenko actually went the distance with him as well.
Oh my God. There you go, everybody. Yeah, he's terrible. So there you go. That's interesting then, isn't it? So we're being sold White against Rivas on pay-per-view, and Rivas went the distance with that big lump of lard. I mean, that's the standard, everybody. That's the standard.
We'll have to try and dig that fight out and sit and watch
it,
I think.
I have to try and watch that. Right, anyway, let's go on to Belly of the Weeks, everybody. We'll go on for as long as it takes. Johnny Scott was being nominated by Max Stoke, who's in the chat. Shout out to you, Max Stoke. Before the fight, Johnny Scott said, that AJ card isn't half as bad as people are making out. Joshua versus Ruiz is closer than people think. Well, he got that right. Smith versus Andam, understandable criticism. Katie Taylor, the best female boxer on the planet. Tommy Coyle, never in a bad fight. Josh Kelly, boxing porn. And Buatsi, boxing porn as well. Well, he got a few of them right, I suppose, Johnny.
I was with him right up until he said Josh Kelly boxing porn. Unless it's like 7 year anal, maybe.
Nomination for Johnny Scott. Box Royalty has nominated Prince Patel. Prince Patel put up a big picture of all these belts that he's won. I'm a champion of many places, he says. Hashtag Wakanda forever. Hashtag Motherland. Hashtag Africa. He likes the hashtags, does Prince Patel. Hashtag Europe. Hashtag Agrabah. Hashtag Arabia. Hashtag Middle East. Hashtag Baltic.
Hashtag Wexford.
When you put in hashtag Agrabah, that's a fucking fictional place from Aladdin.
A whole new world.
Maybe he's trying to jump off the back of the new Aladdin film that's coming out. There you go. That's right. It is Agrabah, yeah. Well done, Dave.
Well, he had Wakanda in there as well. I don't think that's up there. I don't think that's on the map either. So
All the straps has Prince Patel. Lee Wilson has nominated John Green. If you criticise Eddie Hearn, you need to give your head a shake. What's he done for British boxing and how he's elevated the sport so quickly is remarkable. Disagree, and you're wrong, says John. There you go. You told, Rob. You told.
Fauntleroy.
Fauntleroy. Danny Cassius O'Connor, a regular contributor, was nominated by 13 Mike Boxing. People moaning about the Josh Ruiz fight being £20, says Danny Cassius O'Connor. The Coyle fight alone is worth a bobby in my book. Plus, and damn always comes to have a fight. I'm happy to pay a score for that. And the odds ain't too bad either. Come on, the Brits. Now, my rhyming slang ain't great, Rob, but I think a bobby is a bobby more, which is a score, which is £20. So he's effectively saying the Coyle Algeria fight is worth £20 alone.
Well, I don't know. Sometimes you get what you pay for. I don't know. Ask him, has he ever heard of Patreon, this fella? See, this is so free and easy with the 20 quids there.
I know, yeah. He could teach old $1 crawler a thing or two.
Exactly. Get that sterling in, baby.
John Swan has nominated the Pound for Pound podcast, previewing AJ versus Ruiz, kept going on about how the casual fans are underestimating John Ruiz Jr. Both Spencer and Jake continued to refer to him as John throughout. Seems those two casuals think he's the son of the guy Roy Jones Jr. beat.
Ken something, by the way, at times like I wish Spencer Fiedler hadn't had me fucking blocked, by the way. I would love to see his pain in the...
He unblocked me, Andy.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah, I got unblocked, man. You need to get on to old Spence. I didn't ask him to.
Fuck him.
Yeah, there you go. Prince Patel, nominated by Colin Roberts as well for all the belts. Boxing Banter 101, all set for Saturday. Tweeted in Eddie Hearn, Matchroom Boxing, Anthony Joshua, Katie Taylor, Boxing Boatse, Frank Smith, and put up a picture of his purchase confirmation for Boxing Banter 101. Happy to spend the old £20 there. Josh Fitz has nominated Matchroom Boxing. They put up a picture of Boatse, Kelly, Smith, and Coyle all standing together at the press conference having a photo taken. The Brits, says Matchroom Boxing. Debut album and headline tour starts at the Garden this Saturday. Bit of banter from old Matchroom Boxing. Porky's Corner has nominated JP Green. Oh, that's John again. Yeah, who's saying that if you disagree with Eddie being the saviour of British boxing, give your head a shake. So another nomination for him. Lee Wilson has nominated Michael Benson, tweeted out Dillian White seemingly expresses his thoughts on the Deontay Wilder versus Luis Ortiz rematch by reposting an image on his Instagram story. Oh, the irony, says Lee Wilson. Dillian White, hasn't he knocked back or ducked final eliminators or title shots? He certainly has, Lee. Hugh Gallagher has nominated Ryan Good. He gets a lot of stick, but without Eddie, boxing would crumble, says Ryan Good. So there you go. Laura Wilcock also jumped in as well. Love you, Eddie, for bringing boxing back into the awesome sport it is. You are one in a million. So nomination for Laura Wilcock. Kieran JW95 was nominated by Richard Lodder. Struggling to contain my excitement for this fight again. Matchroom, you've done it again. Roll on tomorrow. I bet he wasn't saying that at 6 o'clock in the morning. Dobson Boxbet has nominated an honourable mention here, Andy, for Box Nation. Everybody thought Box Nation was dead. They're very much alive.
Well, that Russian card,
Well, they've sent out a tweet of their upcoming schedule. They have Kevin Lorena against Dukar on the 8th of June, live from Johannesburg, South Africa. And if you weren't turned on by that...
by the way. It's a bum fighter, that opponent.
Well, if you weren't turned on by that, Andy, you can watch live from Altrincham Ice Arena. They spelled Altrincham wrong. 19th of July, The Ultimate Boxer, also featuring Chambers, whoever that is, against TBA. So Box Nation are pulling out all the stops. If you subscribed, you subscribed too early. You unsubscribed too early. Dobson Boxbet.
I never subscribed to that. Smiddle did, though.
Yeah, I've got Box Nation on the go. That's a story for another day. Martin Hurry has nominated O'Hara Davis. What happened to Yard versus Kovalev? I knew he would do this. He was scared, and it's okay. Lions in the camp needs to fight for the vacant title now and strip Kovalev. It all seems to be a bit weird, doesn't it? The Kovalev Yard fight, rather, was never really signed. Tundi is going on about drug testing. We haven't heard anything from Kovalev. Is the money available in Russia? Who knows? It's a strange situation, I suppose, but there you go.
Yeah, you got a fucking Tundi going about talking shite like a fucking proper fiend, and apparently people are saying that he signed his end of the deal, by the way, for what I've heard. I don't know if Ozzy can expand on it, but that's a rumour.
If he has, I wonder what's going on then. It is a strange situation. I don't know why they don't just get on with it. I mean, it's not going to happen at the end of June now, you wouldn't have thought.
Nah, no way. I mean, obviously, no, I wouldn't be. I mean, that's main event. That's one of the main events' main flagship fighters, really, isn't it? Eh? So they're going to give him a bit of a push, make as much money as possible. But nah, I can't see it.
Okay, I'll take a break from my list to go on to one, Andy, you sent to me here. James Gunn tweeted out, if the Anthony Joshua panic attack rumours are true, it would explain a lot. And if Eddie Hearn forced him to go and fight, he should be done in boxing. From someone who suffered severely with real panic attacks for years, I can tell you they are no joke. You feel like you're going to die, says James Gunn. And Eddie himself got wind of this and jumped in. Panic attack. I've heard all sorts of rumours. There was no issue at all going into the fight, says Eddie. And then actual fact syndrome jumped in. I'm liking this one, Andy. He says, next time, check gloves for injected mercury. Monitor every single thing he's fed. Monitor the locker room vents. Be wary of handshakes laced with chemicals. Be more vigilant. There's no extent these people won't go to get their hands on the jewel. It's dirty here. Welcome to America.
They should also tell him to move his fucking head, stick on the jab, keep his fucking hands up, and learn how to wrap someone up.
Get back on the soup.
The best one ever. The best one ever. It was a setup. It was a fix. It was a fix that Joshua planted fucking Andy Ruiz square on his arse with a fucking perfect left hook, and then that right hand that Ruiz took before he fucking knocked Joshua down was just by pure accident. It was just pure for the cameras, you know. Yeah, fucking mugs.
Yeah, I don't know. That's interesting though what Eddie said, because as you know, I'm a fan of the old statement analysis, and I'm always kind of trying to pitch it on her. And then when he said, if he said his first sentence was panic attack, no, I'm hearing all kinds of rumors. That's very telling.
The thing is, Rob, he's need me tagged into that tweet, and he's somehow got one day, and he's still responded to it. So he's on damage control.
He did say that too in an interview, and he gave the exact. This is why I kind of think that AJ was preserving his persona a little bit post knockout, because they're so concerned with that public image. He gave the same interview about 6 times to 6 different people after the fight, because I watched every one of them trying to see was he raging. And but he gave the same answer. You know, he got caught with the left, he didn't recover, and this is part of the journey, and the pressure's off him, and he needs to win the rematch, and we're having a rematch in the UK. It's all so like the hype machine starts again straight away. It was all damage limitation stuff like that. That zone thing is hanging out over him. You could see him; he was raging. Listen, the next fight that AJ is signed for is his last on the current DAZN deal. Imagine he loses the rematch to Andy Ruiz. You know what I mean? They are sweating bullets now. Bullets, no belts. And the TV deal is up in the air. And there's a big fat Mexican fella with a big smile on his face. Thoroughly deserved.
Joshua's off to Uncle Al.
We all him behind them. Like,
yeah, man. Go on, Al.
But just for Eddie, see this Ron Bellew of the week and the timeline of all this. They ducked that fucking Wilder fight. They campaigned to make Wilder look like he was crazy, like he was the one that was ducking the fight, that they wouldn't negotiate. Then Wilder put it to him. They called his bluff. They got the 50 million. They had proof of funds. They showed it to everybody. Loads of people can verify the existence of that offer, and they fucking turned it down. And Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder got together, had an epic fight, eclipsed AJ's profile in the States, and they had to get him out there. And it was a fucking shit show from start to finish.
He was out there that same
Jarrell
week.
Miller pulls out, steroids. Andy Ruiz is mocked by the public, including us as a possible opponent, and goes out and beats the life out of him in 7 rounds. And the paydays are gone down the fucking Swatty. Take Caroline. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Hey, ransacked. That's a word I love, by the way. He got fucking ransacked.
Ragdolled, old man, beat up, dominated. Oh man, glorious. Big Bellew of the week. But I got a great one.
It can't be any there.
Frazzy. I thought this was going to be more of a main highlight, because I had fully expected AJ to beat Ruiz. But Frazzy gave an interview with MJP where she congratulated him on his recent wedding. And he said he was late to the wedding. They were getting married foreign somewhere, because Ryanair are the shittest airline. He turned up 5 minutes late and they closed the gate. But then I thought, he's a fucking millionaire and he's getting a Ryanair flight to his wedding. The battered onion ring story must be true. The cheap gate. Yeah, tight gate. Go and get an Aer Lingus flight for your missus. You're getting married. Yeah, miserable, get you. You're still getting a wage off Sky, for fuck's sake. Go splash the cash right there. Who did you get for the family? EasyJet. You fucking mean bastard.
Yeah, tight bastard, eh? Say that though. Hey guys, so you had the nose done up. She's not going to be easy. She's not going to be easy work. She'll need to be Catwoman, by the way. She'll be spending a fair bit of fucking cash. She's had work done. You'd hope she'd get that vocal box taken out.
You will hope the profile doesn't go high enough where she ends up on Dancing with the Stars and possibly leaving him for an Argentinian figure skater or something like that. You know what I mean? I wouldn't wish that on anyone. So, but you know, maybe splash on Aer Lingus the next time, a Virgin or something like that. You know what I mean? Ryanair.
Fuck's sake. Fucking Ryanair. They're fucking con artists. They're fucking rob you, man.
Wouldn't you be on the old Ryanair, man?
They'll nearly get you to wherever you're supposed to be going to.
Remember that fucking owner got on one of the planes recently and offered everybody a drink, but the fucking flight only lasted 10 minutes. So fucking didn't get a drink after all. The miserable cunt.
It's that dodgy that if you buy those lottery tickets, they say you're in for a chance of winning a car, but that's what it is, because if you win, they let you pick out of an envelope of 1 to 100 to see which one the car is in. So a very suitable airline for Carl to pick there. Like,
here, Rob, Rob, there's a message coming in. Hold on, there's a message coming in.
Carl, just take your plastic nose and fuck off back to Poland, you fucking prick.
Gets better every time, that one, doesn't it?
On Ryanair. There we go. Right, listen, stop asking for the guru, okay? He's not on, and he's not coming on.
Hey, listen, I've got a belter, but I need to play it through my phone, right? So give me a second to get it. To
you get it. I'll read out some more while you get it, Andy.
Good man.
Stop asking for the guru in the chat. He ain't coming on. He's dead. Fuck off. I'm gonna shut this chat down. Right.
The fucking guru, man.
Right, this is one that Rob's going to like anyway. Declan Graffin, nomination for Paulie, his deep obsession with McGregor. Did you see this, Rob? Paulie going over to the Proper 12 whiskey wagon and spitting on it. He's getting into the spitting scene, isn't he, Paulie, fairly lately, I've noticed.
I found it very effeminate, personally.
Did you? Did you see it? Big gob on the side of the lorry?
Yeah, it was pathetic.
Well, it was pathetic. He likes a good spit.
Yeah, I don't know what the crack is with Malnazi. It's getting, like I said a couple of weeks ago, it's getting into the single white female territory now. Like, it's obsession. Like, you're just counting down the seconds in any of his interviews because he's giving good breakdowns of the fights, and you're like, oh, this is really interesting. Well, the thing about McGregor is he's a coward and he's got no balls, and I told you this guy's a quitter, and you're just like, oh, for fuck's sake, shut up now. Yeah, like, just get over it. Like,
but he's not trolling though, Rob. You can tell he's proper angry.
No, he's intense with it. Like, it's embarrassing though, man. Like, fuck, go sit down, take a deep breath, forget about it. Like,
he's walking up to a fucking truck in the middle of the street with somebody filming him. Deliberately walks like 50 feet across the street to then spit on the lorry like a fucking 12-year-old bairn. What the fuck?
Poor old Paulie. Fudges Kelly has nominated AJ bigging up Ruiz on DAZN's pre-fight video. He's got 2 arms, 2 legs, and it's just how he uses them. Well, he used them pretty effectively, to be honest with you, old AJ. Matthew Fallon, old $1 crawler, has nominated Mutiu Lawal at Rising Flowers over on Twitter. Mr. Lawal said, I strongly believe Joshua Ruiz fight is a fix for Joshua to lose, so Wilder can accept the challenge. So Mr. Lawal thinks the fix is in. Martin Hurry has nominated
$100 million, so Wilder.
Yeah, it does sound a bit bizarre, doesn't it? Martin Hurry has nominated Lerd Chigbo. Unpopular opinion, the godfathers of boxing knew the world would bet on Joshua, so they either drugged him or they told him to lose to Ruiz, and now they've all made big millions. P.S. Look at how Joshua kept falling easily. There's no way Ruiz's punch is that lethal. Hashtag AJ Boxing.
someone else asked, did the Italian mob get to you, champ?
Unpopular opinion. Bullshit opinion, I think. Justin has nominated Keith Idek. Or, well, Eddie Hearn through the medium of Keith Idek. Eddie Hearn just told us he got the sense from Anthony Joshua that he's relieved to have suffered his first loss because there was so much pressure on him. There you go. Gavin Steve.
I can't contain myself any longer, mate, because I know there's going to be people at work at the now going to have this sitting with the sound on.
Okay, you get it going then, and just final one for me then. Dillian White put up The Drugs Don't Work by The Verve, so Gavin Stevens nominated that. Go ahead, Andy.
So this is Anthony Joshua just basically kind of flopping out a wee bit at the post-fight press conference to a question for a journalist. Now, you'll not really kind of hear the journalist kind of really talking or asking the question, but you'll hear Joshua's response. Hang on, I'll just turn it up a wee bit.
that's the heavyweight division, with you, Fury, Wilder at the top. Does this set that back at all, you think?
For fuck's sake. I wonder how many you'll get with that, Andy.
I'll catch up to you.
Pure all behaviour. There you go. Coming up to 10 o'clock. A few more from me, guys. Tilt Sports has been nominated by Dominic Henry. 2 photos, 2 unforgettable moments. Ruiz pulls off one of the biggest upsets ever. They then put Ali, obviously knocking down Liston. Ruiz juxtaposed against Ruiz, knocking down Joshua. Toby Hines has nominated Sky Sports Boxing. They wrote, the only thing you can put this down to is the psychological approach. The mental demeanour of Joshua obviously wasn't there. Are the cracks beginning to show for Anthony Joshua? Said Johnny Nelson. The cracks, says Toby Hines. He was knocked the fuck out.
Cracks. That was like the dam busters, for fuck's sake, man.
If he's not careful, Andy, it's going to be downhill from here for him. What the fuck? Are the cracks beginning to show? Oh my god.
Yeah. I caught Chris Mason on the chat, by the way, with fucking signed the phone. He turned up the volume.
Chris, why are you hanging around with the likes of us, man? Oh god. William Lee, Bellew of the Week for the Showtime intern, retweeting Deontay Wilder, saying that Joshua wasn't a true champion. Sweet Science N5 has been nominated by Dave Knight. This one is golden, says Dave. Sweet Science said, AJ's skin looked dull and was not sweating right during the announcements, like as if he had flu. He was also keeping his mouthpiece out as long as possible. Possibly the nose was bunged up. He looked ill. I did posit earlier, Dave, that Kurt in New York said there's a measles outbreak. Maybe he got measles.
You can tell when somebody has measles because they have a fucking rash all over them.
Fucking measles, man. That's the best one yet. Measles. Nigerian soup, measles, depression, concussion.
Mexican cartel threatening him before the fight. That was one that I heard as well.
Mexican cartel as well, yeah. What else is the tax man, probably?
Yeah.
Fucking,
the orangutans.
Orangutans are suing him.
Suing him for defamation.
It's just for like...
They're just like the Mexican cartel kidnap. Yeah, that's the way to get on the Mexican cartel's good side. Go out and drop them with a left hook and an uppercut. Like, yeah, it's really fucking. When they have the chainsaw to your family's neck, yeah, that's what I'm gonna do.
He knocked him down, Rob, and then suddenly thought of El Chapo.
Please beat the El Chapo.
This was a good one. We mentioned this earlier. Anthony Joshua is a composed and ferocious finisher. Watch this. We think it might have been either Sergio Mora or maybe Chris Mannix who said that. And then moments later, Mannix? Moments later, Ruiz had him down. So there you go. Babs has nominated that one, by the way. Jasper has nominated Jarrell Miller, who put a little video up in the aftermath of him in 30 seconds, just saying absolutely nothing. Again, he's trying to play the victim card, isn't he, Miller? Shouldn't have got popped, should you? You dickhead, only him and Serafina.
Oh, did you say Serafina? Aye, she was losing her shit.
She's been wild, yeah, she's been wild.
Losing her shit.
Yeah. Stephen A. Smith and Caleb Plant had a bit of a back and forward. OMG, said Smith. I cannot believe this shit. Anthony Joshua, holder of 3 belts, gets TKO'd by Butterbean. I mean, some dude named Andy Ruiz Jr. What a damn disgrace. Joshua looked completely gassed, more fatigued than hurt. How in the hell did you let that happen? How? Caleb Plant said, you sound like a real fucking goofball, bro. You were a journalist, do some research. JS Park 10 got stuck in on that one. Smith doesn't care, does he? Isn't he a big cheese over there, Dave, with ESPN? I think he can pretty much say what he wants.
Yeah, he's got tons of viewers. I'm not sure if they're fans, but he and Skip Bayless, they used to have the thing. But both of them are simple, basically just trolls. Honestly, they say like off the wall shit, try to like drum up some controversy.
They're abysmal. They were abysmal during that Manny Pacquiao Floyd Mayweather era. Listening to the two of them creeps trying to talk boxing, joke.
It's a
baby thing.
But it works for the casuals. The casuals like enjoy that like fake controversy and stuff.
Right, yes, sorry, just looking in the chat there, see if there's any more nominations, if there is, throw them in, guys. Wasif has nominated Michael Buffer for saying Andy Cruz Jr. when announcing him as the winner. I'm on board with you, Wasif. I think he definitely said that. He should be sacked. Danny Young, Eddie is fucked, not even worth voting for Bellew of the Week. Also, Simon and Levy said that as well. Nomination for Eddie for just being Eddie, getting stuck in on poor old Edward. Oh, here we are. Jasper, prestigious title alert. Amir Khan Promotions. Khan announced it's Khan versus Goyat, professional boxing fight with WBC Boxing Asia champion Niraj Goyat to be held in Saudi Arabia, Jeddah, on the 12th of July. We kicked off the India press conference today in Delhi, says Amir. The WBC Pearl title is on the line.
What?
The WBC Pearl title?
Seriously?
Yeah.
Fucking hell. WBC Pearl. Is it a pearl necklace?
Yeah, it must be. Class, isn't it? There you go. The Pearl title, man.
Is it for a woman? Did you say it was for a woman fighter?
No, it's for Amir against Goyat, and he's tagged in at WBC Morrow as well. The WBC Pearl title. So there you go. What do you think about that, man?
Fucking... Honestly, God, they would attach on me anything if I made them money. ISIS, Azad, it wouldn't fucking matter. Whatever the acronym was, they would put their name to it, by the way.
There you go. They don't mess about over there. Mid-range hooker has nominated Be Real Boxing. I'm down towards the last few here. Credit where it's due. Anthony Joshua took his beatings like a man and kept getting up. There's always naysayers, but Joshua does have heart. He didn't fight back because he was trying to come for a major attack, which never came. Says Be Real Boxing. Giles nominated you, Andy. Me last week on the pod said you. Andy Ruiz has one chance, and that is no fucking chance.
Yeah, I said that. Yeah.
Giles has nominated you, and
I'll gladly take that one. Gladly.
That's all the ones that I've got.
I've got a couple. Oh fuck
ahead.
here we go. Chris Lloyd. Does he work with Matchroom? I think he does. Anyway, he's been going on a fucking blocking spree.
Oh, Lloyd, yeah, I'm already blocked by him, yeah.
Aye, so he basically he was responding to like say Deontay Wilder's comments. He says he wasn't a true champion. His whole career was consisted of lies, contradiction, and gifts, facts, and now we know who's running from who. So Chris Lloyd responds, I think a gift would be like fighting Jason Gavin in your 32nd fight after 6 years as a pro. And that is the reason why people hated Joshua. Simple for that reason. And Chris Lloyd to be wanker. So one for Chris Lloyd. Who's the other one? Oh, anybody see Joshua's dad absolutely fucking raging in the ring?
Where's this footage? I didn't. Is it actually on the broadcast?
There is a bit of it on the broadcast, but the Sun have actually got it on their website. You see his dad turning around to Hearn, and he's fucking raging. He's saying something, and I couldn't make out what Hearn was saying. It was something like, it was my fault, or it's nothing to do with me, or whatever. And that you can see Joshua saying to his dad, "That I'm the fighter. So maybe his dad must have felt like he'll probably know more about what's going on behind the scenes, but maybe he wanted his son pulled out the fight, which was near impossible.
Emotional, yeah, he's just emotional, isn't he? I suppose.
You also got probably Tony Bellew as well. I forget some of the comments he made, but I dare say he said something. Who else?
Andy, while you're looking through them, Emily Rogerson is on the chat, and she said she's bought a new microphone, or she's in the process of buying a new microphone, and she's going to be a member of the Asylum panel next week.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, but they should speak to Brian again.
Hey, I for one am very much looking forward to the young lady's voice.
I've got one as well. Barry Hearn for saying. I've got two for Barry Hearn actually, just off the top of my memory here. And they're age-old comments, but I think they're very valid at this point in time. He said that Wilder Joshua shouldn't happen until at least 2020. I remember that one. And then who remembers this? I finally pulled up his old quote here actually. He, as in Joshua, has the capability to become Britain's greatest ever heavyweight. Now remember, I own 50% of Lennox Lewis Promotions in his early days, so I know class when I see it. In my opinion, Joshua is better at this stage of his career. Think the blinding hand speed of Muhammad Ali, the lightning left jab of Larry Holmes, and the thundering right hook of Ernie Shavers, and you've got Joshua. He also has the attitude of two training of a Carol Froch, and the Cobra is a vicious trainer.
Is that Barry Hearn?
That's Barry Hearn.
I remember what he said about Herbie Hyde, though.
That was heavy stuff, baby. Yeah, I would love to have heard Ian Dart last night, by the way. Love to have heard Ian Dart last night.
Well, Joshua on Saturday night was akin to, it was getting towards Herbie Hyde, Riddick Bowe stage. Didn't Hyde go down about 7 times? There you go, WBO heavyweight title.
The broadcast was great, and I have a little Sky clip going around of the three boys. Like Adam Smith is nearly having a coronary, like when Joshua hits the deck.
You see his face at the end
money
of the
train grinding to a spectacular halt, and you got to think about it. Pulev could beat him, Hunter could beat him, Usyk could beat him. So he has to. Where does he go? His next two fights crucial for his career. Crucial, because every other heavyweight in the division will be licking their chops right now.
Oh, they know, as you say, they know. They just, if they can get him past 6 rounds and take his power, take his best shots, and just take it to him, he's going to unravel. I mean, I'll put it this way: he's probably at this point, excuse me. Saturday reminded me a wee bit like, say, a green Vladimir Klitschko against, like, say, Corey Sanders, for example, or. No, probably to that end. But what was the one? Lamont Brewster when he iced out and stuff like that, when he gassed. A wee bit like that.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
It reminded me a wee bit like that. He had no idea. He had nothing left to give. And, I think that might have been Vlad's first fight, or he hadn't been with Stewart for long, but he stuck with it. He stuck with him. Can Joshua turn around and do that? I don't know. Like,
well, some people, Andy, are saying possibly Klitschko as Joshua's next trainer. You know, that Manny Stewart lineage.
Fuck, I can see the Rocky story right now. By the way, on a journey, run up and down fucking mountains in Austria and all that sort of shit.
So jumping jacks together.
Aye,
down at the beach.
KGB following you in BMWs with fucking snow chains on tires behind you and stuff like that.
They should do that for the sales pitch alone. That would be phenomenal for selling the fight.
Oh fuck! Didn't even start, man. I've put we better get that copyrighted because we'll end up losing money on this. That's what ended up fucking happening. Log it. He's got 2 shots. He's got 3 shots, and it's the 3 basic shots in boxing: the jab, the right hand, and the left hook. He's not really got the brain. He's not got the
no ring IQ, says Chris Mason.
Oh, there you go. No ring IQ. That's the word. That's probably the right thing to say because he had no idea what to do when he got tagged. In fact, I think I can only remember off the top of my head one time when he tried to hold. And it was I think that might be in the 3rd round. When he got tagged, he was like hands up, fucking head bouncing all over the fucking place, and he's just giving ground. You're bigger than him. Fucking lean into him, tie him up. He didn't know how to do it.
Dave, Emily says she's 100% all woman.
We need proof of that. Like,
if you can imagine what Emily would, how do you think Emily would sound like, Dave, when she comes on? Give us an impression.
She might be transgender, Dave.
Wait, is she British?
Yeah.
Hello, lads. I'm following for the first time to the port. I'm a long time admirer.
You sound like Harry.
Give us that again, Dave. Give us that again.
Go on, Dave.
That hater Dave is quite a charming voice. I think he must be sexy.
No, it doesn't sound exactly like that.
Sounded like Harold fucking stepped over.
Sounds like Phyllis of Coronation Street.
At least it's female.
Dave, do Mavis. Do Mavis.
You fucking steptoe. You dirty old man. Oh God, there you go, Emily. You have to beat that next week. Where are we?
Do Peggy Mitchell if you can.
Don't encourage him, Andy. Don't encourage him.
Hey,
right.
A lot of blokes done her, by the way.
Fair play to him.
Okay.
her main defence of birth control was fucking abortions, by the
way. Right. Okay.
Hey, that's also known as Darwinism.
Right, let's move on. Oh dear. Yeah, Sam Dorset and Simon Says Wearer both nominated our friend over on Twitter, Actual Fact Syndrome, who's gone on about injected mercury in the gloves. Any other nominations, boys? Personally, I'm liking this Sky Sports boxing one. I think it was from Johnny Nelson, nominated by Toby Hines, who said that the cracks might be beginning to show for Anthony Joshua after he got knocked out.
Yeah, maybe it could be onto something there. Oh man.
Deary me, man.
Can Andy had a lung come flying at me there?
I got 2 nominations.
Go
on. One is
Manny Pacquiao for he's actually putting up Boot Boy fight Andy Ruiz next. And they even tagged in Premier Boxing Champions and PBC on Fox as well. He's just been an absolute team player, you know. There's the I in Team Me Money, like.
That was actually pretty funny for him.
It was.
Yeah. So one of these is outdated. It's from actually November 2017 from Anthony Joshua's Twitter at Tyson Fury. Get fit, you fat fuck. Well, he just got annihilated and gassed against a guy who makes Tyson Fury look rather trim. So
you still got that picture or that tweet? We need to send that to him by just to kind of remind him, get in shape, baby.
Oh, he's been getting it. That one's been dug up all day. That one.
Yep.
I've seen that about 20 times today already.
I'm looking at it right now.
I need a copy and then send it to me.
And one other one is, well, you know, the whole gang, the Sky Gang was like just mind boggled by the whole night. Anna Woolhouse looked like she was in tears. Her voice was quavering. Bellew looked like he was having a coronary. His eyes were popping out of his head. He looked like he was about to start raging. Johnny Nelson looked kind of clueless, like, oh, what's happening?
And Frotch looked secretly delighted because the guy that beat his 80,000 to Wembley.
Yep, he was the one guy who seemed like he didn't give a fuck, and he was partially happy. And in fact, they went over performances of the night, and you had Johnny Nelson, I think, give it to Katie Taylor, and you had Bellew give it to Callum Smith, and Frotch is the only one who talks some sense. He's like, what? Did you guys not just see what I saw? It's got to be Andy Ruiz. Bellew the week for those two idiots, given the performance of the night to the guys who clearly did not have it.
20-1 underdog heavyweight wins in 5 fucking emphatic knockout. Well, I think Katie Taylor did very well in the fight.
Stick to the narrative, Robert. Stick to the narrative. Callum B has jumped in with one. He said, during the pre-fight media workout, Smith said, Katie Taylor is top 5 pound for pound, men and women, and could go down as the greatest boxer of all time. There you go. Adam Smith.
Steve, you read the Scott Coleman one, eh?
Oh, God, I don't know, Andy. What was that?
Something doesn't seem right. I watched it 3 times now. I watched it 3 times as well, Scott. And it looks like AJ almost let Ruiz win. Well, he fucking did. I think
almost.
No shit.
I think it's a setup. I think AJ and Eddie had a planned it so well during Fury. Now think that AJ's a short fighter and they signed the contracts to fight. Crazy, I know, but not impossible.
Yeah. You're a real fucking Angela Lansbury, you.
Oh, right, what else? Yeah, Chris is throwing in Barry Hearn as well. A few people have gone for Barry. Paulie is a good one this week. He's had a mare again. I fancy this one actually. Actual fact syndrome going on about the injected mercury and monitor the air vents in the locker room.
Oh, that's elite.
They're talking like he's a foreign dictator that CIA is going to assassinate.
Steve, it's been an elite weekend, mate. I think we need to bring out the 3 belts this weekend.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So we need a super champion first. So let's go with the super belt of the week first. So who gets that one?
Yeah, I'm going for actual. I think actual fact syndrome should win that.
Yeah.
Let me read it out again then, just when it comes. Okay, next time, check the gloves for injected mercury. Monitor every single thing he's fed. Monitor locker room vents. Be wary of handshakes laced with chemicals. Be more vigilant. There's no extent these people, whoever that is, won't go to get hands on the jewel. It's dirty here.
Why did he say check the vents? Like someone sitting up there like the fucking 60s Joker putting green gas through the fucking vents.
Serafina putting chemicals through the vents.
Big Baby Miller driving her off in a big van.
Yeah.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Sitting outside like Father Ted with Father Dick Byrne with the big satellite dish on the ice cream van.
Fucking ridiculous. Like he's not got eyes. Have you never seen him fight before? Like this, the clues were out there already. Like that this was going to happen. It was a matter of time. Like, oh my God, that's why you should listen to us.
Exactly.
Hey, so that's could be super champion. What about the regular title? I put up Scott Coleman for what he just said there as well, but that's
mandatory for Scott has to be Johnny Nelson through Sky Sports Boxing saying the cracks are beginning to show for AJ.
Who gets the interim, aka gold belt?
I have to go for he's a clinical and composed finisher. Watch this.
Sergio Mora.
That's up there with letting him out of the cage. Like,
Tim Lane, exactly.
Yes, good show.
Eddie has to have a version of the title. This
Emeritus for Eddie.
No, we
just
need to
for
find
his-
mandatory challengers for each of these belt holders.
I wish I had either Dave's power for impressions or the fucking audio clip where he says, "Fury's got no belts." Like, fuck off, Fury's got no belt. You're getting 50-50, got no belts, and now you haven't got no belts. Oh, it's fucking brilliant.
Rob, your impersonation of Malinagi's like spot on. So
I got one. I think that's about it.
There you go. High praise coming from the hater. So who else have we got then? I think we've pretty much dished them all out. Oh, John Green got quite a few nominations for saying that you have to give your head a wobble, give your head a shake if you don't think Eddie's the best promoter. But I think with
Chris Lloyd for blocking people like he went on a spree, baby. I've never even tweeted that guy or even messaged him. He's fucking blocked me and all.
Oh, there you go. We'll throw him in as well. Personally, I did like Actual Fact Syndrome. I do love a good conspiracy. Someone else threw something into me here on Twitter. Let's read it out. Boxing Luton. I'm hearing Anthony Joshua's old fella was shouting, jet fuel can melt steel beams, Eddie. Inside job, mate. Inside job.
Alex Jones sitting around banging the table.
Alex Jones on the zone. Trying to sell frigging protein pills.
Maybe there was a lack of protein pills, and that's where it all went wrong. You know what I mean?
Yeah, AJ should maybe get on the old Alex Jones pills. Right, so should we call it a wrap then, boys? Anything else you want to add in? Any final thoughts? We'll go to you first, Rob.
No, but I just had a thought of AJ being interviewed by Alex Jones, AJ versus AJ, and AJ fully buying into the conspiracy world from here on in. Like, that'd be a good watch. Like,
there you go. Nobody saw that Sandy left hook coming.
Oh God! Save us from this madness.
This is some comedy, man. I mean, Christ, you could
talk about hoaxes. Talk about hoaxes. We saw a fucking bigger one on Saturday night.
Fuck's sake, man!
Hoax of all.
Listen to me. He's getting Patreon for £1. Right, he's got to pay a tenner a month for Netflix to watch Joe Rogan and Bill Burr and stuff like that. Get into your hand in your pocket, get your $5 a month.
Don't be like Fratty, you know what I mean? You're not. This is not a Ryanair service. This is fucking top drawer. This is fucking what you call it, Virgin Airways. One of them boys.
Yeah, get on it like $1 crawler. Dave, anything from you?
On a slightly serious note, I'm interested in how we feel the top three play out now. I'm assuming we're thinking Wilder and Fury both beat AJ.
Yeah.
Oh, I without question.
Yep.
Believed that long ago. I mean, they were protecting him all that time.
That's it. And they knew they were protecting him, and that was the thing. They were hoping that they were going to get to cash him out in Wilder and in the rematch against Wilder, but the spanner's been thrown in the works.
Shout out to the chin on Andy Ruiz also. That guy took a big one.
Yep.
Yeah.
He was funny. Actually, you know what? It's brilliant that I hope he gets now enough credit, and it's not all about AJ. Obviously, we were going to cover it mostly AJ, but I hope now he gets his justified dues over in the States and they turn him into a bit of a hero, like just because of his. He said in the press conference afterwards, they were like, "You took some big shots there from Joshua," and he was like, "Well, he hits hard, bro." He's like, what do you want me to say? He's 6'6", like, hit me on the fucking jaw.
He'll be in a Snickers ad at the end of the month, guaranteed.
Hope he is, man.
He did show though one hell of a beard, didn't he? And recuperative skills and an engine as well.
Well, that's what I said. You see me took the left hook. I thought he was guided in. He was laser focused. I thought to me he didn't look hurt, and then took the right hand, and he's like, oh shit, he took it, and he's not just taking it, he's fucking fighting back, and then like literally within 10 seconds Joshua's on his arse, and the whole dynamic, the heavyweight division's changed, because I mean, I've said before, last couple of weeks, even last week, I said I'm not interested in the division anymore, and then Ruiz comes in and just absolutely fucking ransacks the place, just destroys it all, makes it all interesting again. It's going to be interesting in a couple of months and stuff. Is the politics going to get involved, the corruption, the greed, or is he going to get his chance to defend his title a couple of times? It'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, the guys are discussing it. I think that Wilder absolutely ices AJ. I mean, really early. And Fury against AJ, I think maybe resembles Calzaghe Lacey. You know, maybe even a stoppage towards the end or something.
A mercy fuck that one. Like.
Yeah, obviously Lacey went the distance, but there you go.
I think whatever way it plays out, Fury will eventually get to the top of the pile if they stop bullshitting around with this ESPN thing and they make a fight. They have to go for a title, like, so one way or the other, whether it's Wilder or Ruiz or the winner of Ruiz, AJ, like, Fury has to get in with a title shot soon. But I think when he does, he'll probably rise to the top. Like.
There you go. You've heard it from the boys. Thank you very much for everybody jumping on. We nearly did 3 hours for you, so there you go. The chat as well. Vibrant chat tonight. Thank you, everybody. Don't forget to hit the like, the thumbs up. Let's get to 100 if we can. Good to see you all in there. Thank you to Rob Kelly for lasting the distance. He disappeared off now. He's got iced Andy Patterson as always. Dave the Hater Low back. We had Donnie on earlier. Good to hear from him. Adam Smido-Smith was here. Also our guest, Jason Chatty Chukwu, putting in a good shift there. He's in the chat still. Thank you for coming on, Jason. Hamed, Take Ames, Paul McAllister. Anybody else? Sorry if I forgot you. We'll catch you all again, hopefully on Sunday, YouTube permitting. Same time, same place. I've been Steve Wellings. See you all. Bye.